This is the story of that quiet night in with Daisy May Cooper literally judging books by their covers. Or the story of that lazy morning lying to the FBI about who you really work for. Or the story of that walk home after some beers followed by spirits hell-bent on their dreadful revenge. From Educating Daisy to Mother, Neighbour, Russian Spy and Ghost Stories, Stephen Fry's definitive collection. For the story you need right now, listen on Audible. Subscription required. See audible.co.uk for terms.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast. With Lookers. New or used, they've got something for every taste. Visit them today. It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on a big Saturday in the Scottish Premiership and beyond. There's a huge game between Motherwell and Hearts with both managers in need of all 3 points. Hibs Kilmarnock, St Johnstone Ross County and Dundee St Mirren make up the Saturday picture in the top flight, and then a double header tomorrow as Rangers go to Livingston and Celtic take on Aberdeen. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me in the studio you have Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
Well, what about that Motherwell Hearts game? Stuart Kettlewell, the Motherwell manager, and Stevie Naismith under pressure. They could do with a positive result, and I would suggest Stevie Naismith could really do with one, because the wrong sequence of results and Hearts could drop out of the top 6 this weekend, and that would not be good. The other side of Edinburgh, Nick Montgomery, Hibs at home to Kilmarnock. He's still looking for his first win as Hibs manager. He could do with that today. And then Avril's uncle Craig Levine, he's at home to Ross County. They blew a 2-goal lead in his first game midweek against Motherwell, but St Johnstone could move off the bottom of the table today if they get a win against Ross County, who have no wins in their last 5 games. And speaking of which, all of a sudden St Mirren have got no wins in their last 5 games, and they're third top, and we've been saying how good they are. I like this. Pressure everywhere.
Pressure everywhere and big games everywhere, and Hugh's right. You look down that win columns down the league and the fixtures we've got today, and not many. You've got to say Kilmarnock, probably the informed team, away to Hibs, who Nick Montgomery desperate for a win. He just cannot get his team over the line for that crucial victory. But no doubt, main pressure for part today, Motherwell v Hearts, where Stephen Naismith has to bounce back from elimination from the Cup, and Stuart Kettlewell, well, it was much more like the Motherwell last season in the second half against St Johnstone. Can they start the game that way? Malky Mackay desperate for a win. Also Dundee St Mirren. Dundee going along okay this season, but lacking consistency. But another top afternoon we've got to look forward to.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. 4 terrific games, I think, ahead of us, Gordon, and plenty of goals for the guys all round about the country today. And you look even into the Championship, good result, Dundee United last night away at the Pars. Puts a bit of pressure on St Wraith Rovers Partick. Can you come and catch us? Looking forward to this afternoon's football.
And a great weekend all round, Hugh Keevins. It's not often that the big two in Glasgow play on the same day. Sometimes when they're both in the Europa League, they're forced to do it on the Sunday, but both on telly tomorrow. The psychology of it all as the title race takes centre stage again, and of course through the lens of what happened in Europe during the week.
Well, they're separated by 8 points. If Rangers win against Livy, and they will, even though the manager Philippe Clement says he would not have artificial pitches in his league if it was his league to deal with, that would reduce the lead that Celtic have to 5 points. Then Celtic play Aberdeen. Theoretically, Aberdeen 2 days less recovery time than Celtic. They've come back from playing in Greece on Thursday night. Celtic played on Tuesday night, and they're on the rebound from that 6-goal hammering. Has Brendan Rodgers tempted VAR fate by saying he would scrap it immediately? Will there be a big VAR call tomorrow at Celtic Park?
This is when we actually get back to the football on the pitch this afternoon, Mark Wilson, because it was a busy week anyway. We had League Cup semi-finals last weekend, we had European action during the week, and then we threw in certain staples of the Scottish football argument, like debates about ticket allocations, pyrotechnics and VAR, all in the space of 1 week. Never a dull day.
Never a dull moment, and it's filled the week nicely. But you're right, Gordon, all attention now turns to what really matters, and a lot of teams in there desperate to get 3 points, because like I said earlier, that consistency has been a problem for the majority of the league. But you look at Stuart Kettlewell, you look at Stephen Naismith, you look at Nick Montgomery and Craig Levine trying to piece something together. They could all do with 3 points this afternoon, so looking forward.
OK, let's go around the grounds. 4 big games in the Scottish Premiership. Of course, that is just part of the picture. We'll keep you up to speed on all the other talking points as well. But let's start at Fir Park. It does have a game of the day. Feel a pressurised situation mounting there, and Gabriel has the teams.
Yeah, massive game here, Gordon, in the chilly sunshine of North Lanarkshire. As the boys in the studio have already said, it's a battle between 2 teams struggling for form and 2 managers who are starting to feel the heat and are desperate for 3 points. Let's start with the hosts, who are winless in 8. They've come crashing down since a stellar first 6 months under Stuart Kettlewell. Their last victory, it was against Hearts at Tynecastle 2 months ago. Now, I spoke to Kettlewell here on Thursday morning. He said the comeback draw against St Johnstone midweek was much more like his team. Hopefully it sparks his side into life and reignites their campaign. He makes just one change from that draw a few days ago. It's Bear in for Spencer, who drops to the bench. So as a forward coming in for a left back, it could be a change of formation, Gordon, perhaps a 4-3-3. I'll run you through the 11. It's Liam Kelly in goal, a defence of Stephen O'Donnell, Callum Butcher, Shane Blaney and Dan Casey. Harry Payton, Blair Spittle and Callum Slatter will be in midfield, with Mika Bearitt, Theo Bear and Connor Wilkinson all up top. Very attacking. John Obika is back amongst the substitutes, along with Oxborough, Shaw, Gent, Spencer, Wells, Ross, Mugabe and Stravkovsky. Hearts, they are also struggling. Only 1 win in 5, although 3 of those matches were against the Old Firm. They're still in 5th place, and a win here can push them up the table. These are the kind of games that Stephen Naismith needs to win if he wants to make his team one that will finish in the European places. But as Hugh just said, a loss could see them drop into the bottom half. That is not where the Tynecastle outfit see themselves at all. And now Naismith makes 3 changes to the loss at Hampden last weekend. Civic, Grant and Vargas all drop to the bench. Forrest, Lowry and Boyce come in. So it's an attacking team as well for the Jambos. It'll be the usual 3-4-3 formation. Xander Clark in goal. A back 3 of Frankie Kent, Kai Rolls and Stephen Kingsley. Alan Forrest will be on one side with Alex Cochran on the other. Cal Neuvenhoff and Benny Beningame in the middle. Liam Boyce and Alex Lowry will play behind Lawrence Shankland. Substitutes: McGovern, Haring, Grant, Oda, Devlin, Halliday, Civic, Tagawa and Vargas. The referee here is Dave Monroe. Kevin Clancy is on the VAR and kickoff is 50 minutes away.
How big is that one, Gordon Dalziel? You've got your finger on the pulse. You were nodding like the Churchill dog when Gabriel said that it was chilly and sunny in North Lanarkshire, that being your part of the world. How important is the football match?
Massive for both clubs. You know, you look at Hearts, struggled against Livingston, got the win but got the 3 points. Motherwell on the other hand are having to dig deep, coming back from 2-0 down, coming back from 3-1 and 2-0 down at home just to salvage draws. They lost 7 goals in the last 2 home games. I think Gabs will get plenty of goals, plenty of entertainment. I really couldn't call it, because you can't make a case for any of the teams this afternoon.
I think it's about levels of expectation. With respect, Motherwell's level of expectation is lower than Hearts. Hearts think of themselves as the third force in Scottish football. They have a magnificent stadium with a massive fan base, but they are not playing like a team who have a massive fan base and a magnificent stadium. And Stephen Naismith has to bring Hearts to a more respectable position in the league table. And if he does drop out of the top 6 this weekend, trouble.
Well, I will say, Hugh, just quickly, I know what you're saying, you're pointing probably more pressure at Hearts because of the size of the club, but Mother's point of view, you can't just keep not winning games. If they don't win today, their next game's away to Celtic at Celtic Park. So all of a sudden you're into double figures if you don't get anything out next 2 games. You can't keep going along the roads like that. No.
Let's go to our next venue then. Some crackers this afternoon, it has to be said. Avril Lavigne's Uncle Craig, as Hugh Keevins now calls him. He's got another home game in charge, this one against Ross County, watched by Roger Hanna.
Yeah, and he's here this afternoon with St Johnstone. Still 2 points adrift of Livingston with a game in hand at the bottom after starting a new era here at McDermott Park with that 2-2 draw at home to Motherwell on Tuesday night. They defeated Kilmarnock here under Alec Cleland the previous midweek, and they know a home win today, Gordon, would lift them above both Livy and County and out of the drop zone. Nicky Clark's been a key figure in this mini renaissance for the Saints. 3 goals in those last 2 games, and he's also responsible for my favourite statistic of the week. When he played on Tuesday night, it meant his last 4 appearances for St Johnstone had come under 4 different managers: Levine, Cleland, Stevie McLean and Callum Davidson. And he really is an important figure going forward with Chris Kane up the top. County beat McLean St Johnstone 2-0 at Dingwall in August, but they're without a win in 8, 4 draws and 4 defeats in that run, and that's why they're so precariously positioned just above the drop zone, just above St Johnstone. And they'll miss right back James Brown this afternoon after that red card against Celtic last weekend. I'll run through the teams for you. One change Levine's made in the St Johnstone side that drew with Motherwell, and it probably means a change of shape. James Brown, we think, in at right wing back with Sven Sprangler, the midfielder, dropping out. So it's Dimitar Mitov in goal. A back 3, Ryan McGowan, Liam Gordon and Andy Considine. Across the middle, James Brown, Dan Phillips, Matt Smith and Luke Robinson, with Graham Carey behind Chris Kane and Nicky Clark on the bench. Richards, Gallagher and May, McPherson, Kusharai and Jeff Gott, Olufunwa, Sprangler and Turner Cook. As for County, 2 changes. As we say, Brown drops out because of that suspension, so Will Nightingale comes in, and there's a change on the left with Ben Purrington preferred to George Harman. So that means it's Ross Laidlaw in goal. A back 3, Will Nightingale, Jack Baldwin and Ryan Leake. Across the middle, Conor Rando, Victor Laturi, Scott Allardyce and Ben Purrington, with Jan Danda behind it, Simon Murray and Jordan White. Only 7 subs for County: Monroe, Turner, Sheaf, Harman, High, Samuel and Reid. The referee is Nick Walsh, and the VAR this afternoon, Ewan Anderson.
What about Hibs against Kilmarnock, David Friel?
Yeah, Gordon, I just feel as if Hibs are in a bit of a strange situation right now. I turned up at Easter Road a bit early, bumped into an old friend who spent 5 minutes basically telling me how good Nick Montgomery's been, how a breath of fresh air, you know, great football, he likes the way he talks, but then finished off by saying but he really needs to start winning games, and I think that sums it up. Hibs are 7 games without a win at present, 5 draws in there obviously, but it's not been a good week for Nick Montgomery, losing the Viaplay Cup semi-final last weekend. Aberdeen down to 10 men, still won, and then they threw away a lead against St Mirren in midweek in injury time, also drew 2-8. So looks as if the new Hibs manager has made an impact, but he's only won 1 of his 8 league games so far, and that was against St Johnstone, who at that time everybody were beating. Hibs are drawn with Ross County, Dundee here in the last 6 weeks, so I think it's understandable against a Kelly team who never win on the road that Hibs fans will want to see a win today. And just as a wee aside, I know Lee Johnson had to go, you know, his time is up, but after 12 games last season, Hibs are actually 5 points better off than they are right now. They're 8th in the table at the moment, but they're only 4 points above St Johnstone, who have a game in hand. So for all Nick Montgomery's impressing people and he's not panicking, says that wins will come, I think it isn't going to get a free pass on results forever, and Hibs really need to start winning games. He's made 2 changes from that St Mirren game. Rory Whittaker and Eli Ewan drop out, Lewis Miller and Martin Boyle are in. Looks like a 4-2-3-1 for Hibs. David Marshall in goals, Lewis Miller, Rocky Bashiri, Will Fish and Jordan Abita at the back. Dylan Levitt and Joe Newell will be at the base of the midfield, with Martin Boyle, Josh Campbell, Jair Tavares and Dylan Venti the front 4. Subs for Hibs are Wallacott, Ewan, Stevenson, Del Ferrier, Whittaker, Hanlon, Jego, Harbottle and Landers. As for Kelly, as I said earlier, you know, their troubles on the road are well documented. They're formidable at home, but they've only taken 2 points away from home in 5 games this season. Last year they only won twice away from Rugby Park. To make matters worse, they don't have a good record at Easter Road. They haven't actually won here since May 2014, so what we're talking 10 years ago. But Derek McInnes' side beat Motherwell last week. They currently sit 4th and have a chance to really consolidate their place in the top 6 if they do manage to get a rare away win. Bad news for Kelly is that Kyle Vassell hasn't shaken off the injury he picked up against Motherwell. Captain, such a big player, but he won't play any part today at all. Matty Kennedy is also out, so Liam Polworth and Liam Donnelly come in. Kelly, you know, it's always a guessing game with Derek McInnes' formations. He might change it up today, but it looks like a 4-2-3-1 as well. Will Dennis in goals, Joe Wright, Lewis Mayo, Stuart Finlay and Robbie Dees at the back. Brad Lyons and Liam Donnelly in midfield, with David Watson in behind, Marley Watkins and Danny Armstrong and Liam Polworth on the wings. Subs for Kelly are Glavin, Sanders, Davis, McKenzie, Kennedy, Murray, Warnock, Dallas and Cameron. And the referee is David Dickinson and the VAR is Greg Aitken.
Good to see Martin Boyle come back into the team after potentially injuring his knee, doing a knee slide celebration. So you two had an easy fix for that. You, Mark Wilson, just never really scored, and you just that ludicrous celebration, that thing you did down on one knee and the sort of pointing for, as if you were proposing to someone again. and the finger point forward. That's how you. None of this knee slide stuff. Risk to your career. Keep it safe.
Absolutely no chance whatsoever. I think I would have probably ended up like Martin Boyle. Would have been out for a few games.
You couldn't knee slide on the pitches you used to play
on.
I
don't think the pitches were made for that, to be honest with you. It'd have been a nosedive in, and then people with the legs try to pull the DQ out of the turf, I've got to say.
Well, he's in anyway, Martin Boyle. A big boost for Hibs and Nick Montgomery as he goes in search of that win. Dundee against St Mirren at the Scotfoam Stadium, as it's now known. Dave Galloway's there.
Yes, thanks Gordon. Well, Dundee are hoping they can kick on after making a decent start to life back in the top flight following promotion. Aside from their recent thumping here by Rangers, they've looked pretty solid of late with 4 shutouts in 5 games. Victory today would make it back-to-back Premiership wins for the first time in this campaign. But of course that's much easier said than done against a very impressive St Mirren team that's sitting in 3rd place on merit with just 2 losses in 11 matches, less than anyone else in the league bar Celtic. They showed great spirit to battle until the very end in the midweek draw with Hibs grabbing a 92nd minute equaliser, and a win for them would cut the gap on Rangers to only 2 points. A close contest looks very much on the cards here. Dundee make just the one change, Malaki Boateng in for Mohamed Silla, so it's Trevor Carson in goals, a back 3 of Antonio Portales, Joe Shaughnessy and Ricky Lamy. Across the middle, Jordan McGee, Lyle Cameron, Malaki Boateng, Luke McCowan and Owen Beck, with Amadou Bakayoko and Zach Rudden up front. The subs, Legstons, Kerr, Pineda, Robinson, Riley, Robertson, Howley, Donnelly and Silla. Just the one change for St Mirren as well. It's Kanu Bacchus replacing Mark O'Hara. So Zach Hemming in goals, a back 3 of Marcus Fraser, Alex Gogic and Richard Taylor. Midfield, Ryan Strain, Kanu Bacchus, Caelan Boyd-Muntz and Scott Tanzer. And in attack, Mikael Mandron supported by Colin McMenamin and Greg Kilty. The subs are Minsky, Bolton, Flynn, Small, Dunn, Nakmani, Olusanya, Grieve and Jemison. The referee here at a gloriously sunny Dens Park, it's Matthew McDermott, and on VAR, Andrew Dallas.
I'm sure it'll be quiet in the VAR front, never much drama to be had there. Speaking of which, at this time on a Saturday we usually look back on some of the week's biggest talking points, and we'll do it next. And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
This is the story of that day you cleared out the garage. Classics with the best MC in the galaxy. Or the story of that workout when you lifted a weight off and harnessed the power of your emotions. Or the story of that long-haul flight, sat on the plains of the Namibian desert, soothed by the returning rains. From the Corrupt FM podcast to Darren Brown's Boot Camp for Emotion and Sleep Sound with Maya Jama for the story you need right now. Listen on Audible. Subscription required. See audible.co.uk for terms.
Make me a winner.
Make me a winner.
Your chance to win life-changing amounts of cash every weekday until Christmas. Enter at winhappy.me/wincash.
It'll just be home improvement, a lovely Christmas. I've got 2 boys. It's quite life-changing for us, really.
Terms and conditions apply. UK residents over 18 only. Competition ends 22nd of December 2023.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
Enter for your chance to win life-changing cash every weekday at winhappy.me/wincash.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson are in the studio. We've got the team around the grounds in the Premiership today. 4 big games, 2 tomorrow. What more could you want from a weekend in the winter sunshine? We always take the chance to look back on this weekend's this week's biggest talking points, at this stage on a Saturday. The truth is, there are too many to consider. I don't even know which one to go for. Why don't we go and keep it in a nice little tidy section? I'm sure we won't discuss it again all afternoon for everyone's favourite topic, VAR. Roger Hannah. It seems to have reared its head when one of the most high profile managers in the league says if it was up to him, he would bin it. When you look around and see Stephen Robinson not disagreeing, when you look across Europe and the world of football and everyone seems to be losing patience a little bit, what's your own take on it?
My own take on it is it's not quite what was sold to us, Gordon. Derek McInnes made that point earlier in the week when he was discussing VAR. He said managers at the very start, and it's been going, we've had it now since about 13 months, the managers were told at the start VAR wouldn't be intrusive, VAR wouldn't try and re-referee the game, VAR would be silent and in the background and would only intervene in serious cases of clear and obvious errors. And quite simply, that's not what's happening now. VAR is re-refereeing games, VAR is making mistakes, and it is more obtrusive in the games than it's ever been before.
To be a pedant about it, Hugh Keevins, Roger's not wrong, 13 months, but world football has had it a lot longer than that, and it doesn't, this week or the last couple of weeks, maybe even the last couple of months, this doesn't feel like Scotland all of a sudden's got a bit of an issue with the way we do things. It feels a bit bigger than that. You look at the English Premier League with some proper procedural, easy for me to say, errors, and then trying to come out and be clear and transparent and admit when things go wrong. That doesn't really seem to be working either. Some of the biggest ones this week, it's all been centred around European competition, and we've had our own issues in international football. It doesn't feel like we're getting this wrong and everyone else is getting it right. It feels like overall people are starting to wonder what's going on.
Yeah, with the Mikel Arteta meltdown when Arsenal lost a late goal to Newcastle United, and I think he was absolutely correct. I don't think it was a goal. We had Ange Postecoglou saying that he didn't want games refereed in a studio 3 miles away from where they were taking place. And then we come back to Brendan Rodgers, as you said, one of the most high profile managers in our league, and he said he would scrap it. We had a caller last night who said that he'd given up his season ticket at Celtic because he's fed up with VAR and he can't take it anymore, so he's given the season ticket to his family to use. That people will be put off football. They're already put off by the pyrotechnics. There's evidence of people being put off by that and not going, and VAR is having the same effect. For me, it runs contrary to the spirit of the game. The game wasn't meant to be refereed in a studio and talking about calibrated lines and all the rest of it. It just does not feel right.
I'd pull back on some of that slightly, because until such times as you can say, well, attendances are definitely down and it's because of X, Y or Z.
But it has to start somewhere, Gordon.
No, but it all sounds a bit speculative to say that people are not going because of our... I know one guy phoned in and said it, similar to pyrotechnics, and that just sounds a little bit of a leap. But anyway, we can get back to that. David, what have you made of this? Is this just a continuation of where we've been? Is it starting to feel any different now, or what's the script?
No, my main bugbear is that, Gordon, when VAR was being brought in, I was a fan of it, I wanted it in. I still think in principle it's a good idea. I just don't like the way it's being used. You spoke about procedural things, that sort of stuff will happen. My main problem with VAR is that referees just don't have the courage to stand by their original real-time decisions. For me, you can talk about Dies and Mary, you can talk about the other ones, but if a referee sees something in real time, I thought Derek McInnes was quite good in this early in the week, they can feel what's happened, they can sense whether someone's going in to really hurt a player if he's not. And if someone says, you know what, it's not a red card, but then is told you better go and have a look, you know what's going to happen. You just know that they're not going to stand by their decision. There's too many of them just saying, well, I'm under pressure now to change my mind, and I think it's wrong. I think games are being re-refereed. I think games are being refereed in an office somewhere, and I think referees as a collective need to start saying, you know what, I saw it in real time. I know you can show a freeze frame or a still image that makes it look really bad, but I was 5 yards away from it. I saw it, I know what was going on. It's a yellow card instead of a red card, and I think until that happens, then we're just going to get around in circles with it, and managers are just going to be complaining time after time.
The counter argument to that, Mark Wilson, is of course two highly qualified colleagues with the benefit of different views and different replays, may see something that the referee didn't, and therefore, is it this big shock, is it this big drama that they tend to reverse their decision when they go to the monitor? Is that not inevitable? As much as we maybe don't like the idea of it, is that not sort of the point?
It should be the point that when you see incidents and someone sitting there with the technology and a video replay should be able to pick up on it. But I think the evidence is there that backs David's point up, that referees don't have the courage then to back down their VAR and say, no, I think I was right now. If we're going to Maeda, because that's why this conversation is popped up, the referee got that right, in my opinion anyway, and a lot of people's opinion as well. It was a yellow card. But when you freeze it, you slow it down, the way VAR is, of course they think, oh well, that does look like an error, that does look like a red card, and that's the problem. That bar of VAR deciding, the guy that's sitting there watching it, what is enough to call the referee over to the monitor? Because David's right, when the referees do get called over, I don't think they're helping their colleague at all. I think they're putting them under pressure.
If you flip it, Hugh, we're talking about the Celtic decision. If you flip it, the Thursday night, if you're an Aberdeen fan and MD concerned with Aberdeen, you're over the moon with VAR, because if VAR wasn't there, that referee's given the worst penalty I have ever seen in my life.
But that's not the point I was making. That is a clear error. Anybody could see that. But I think when you're a referee sitting in front of the video screen and your colleague's on there trying his best and he's already gave a yellow card for something, you see the contact, you see his position, you've got to back him to be a good enough referee on the pitch to think that he can get that right. You're admitting that you don't think he's got that right. And I think Derek McInnes is right. He's got a feeling for it.
The slogan that was used to sell VAR to the Scottish public was minimum interference, maximum efficiency. That clearly is not the case. And to go back to David Friel's point about referees having the courage of their convictions, refereeing in Scottish football has always been a mutual protection society. When they are called to the monitor, they think, I had better do what the monitor tells me.
You keep saying Scottish football, and I get it because that's what we're talking about, but is this not the fundamental flaw with VAR? Because in European games and international games, it's the exact same thing that happens with the monitor. That's what I'm saying. It would almost be, I don't know, it would almost be in a strange way better if only we did it, because then you could look at an easy way to fix it. But it now just feels like the full thing is fundamentally flawed because we're maybe striving for a perfection that doesn't exist.
Perfection will never exist,
and that's the point. It seems like we're on this relentless pursuit of something we can't get.
I have no statistical evidence on what percentage of goals are disallowed in the Belgian league once the referee goes to the monitor, but I can confine myself to what I'm seeing within Scottish football, and it's causing chaos. When sane, rational men like Derek McInnes or Brendan Rodgers or Stephen Robinson tell you that VAR is getting in the way now, then I think we should give them the respect of saying, well, they know what they're talking about.
Having said that, Roger Hanna, many people, I don't know these ones as an example, people wanted it brought in, and now maybe don't. Why is that? Is it not what people thought it would be? Was there a naivety from the outside at thinking it would do things that it was never actually going to do?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of confusion, definitely. It's not what it said on the tin at the start, Gordon. And you'd almost feel better if the authorities come out and said, listen, we're doing away with this clear and obvious thing. What we're going to do is, there's a referee in the studio, and if he picks up anything that he doesn't like that the ref's missed, then we're just going to send them to the screen, and that's how it's going to be. If you don't like it being re-refereed, then I'm afraid this is 2023 and this is how it's going to be. But they've sold it to the managers, the players, the public in a sort of different way, talking about minimum interference, talking about they'll only pick up clear and obvious errors. That's not what they're doing. They're neither in Scotland nor around the world of football.
I suppose what it does feed into, I did say at this stage on a Saturday we look at the week's biggest talking points, but I don't know how many there were. Ticket allocations, VAR. If we do want to loosely link it, then Dies and Maida, European football. Let's get back to the bread and butter, a bit more of performances and results and so on. A bruising week, can we call it that, Roger Hanna, for Celtic? The type of result that leads to fans saying they were embarrassed to watch it, and a bit of soul searching about where Celtic are in Champions League quite, in the context of the Champions League, how do you look back on it?
Well, it's not just supporters saying it was embarrassing. The Celtic captain, Callum McGregor, moments after the game described the 6-0 defeat to Atletico as embarrassing. And it's a problem now for Celtic. There was a caller on the show on Monday night, Gordon, the eve of the game, who said he was anxious and nervous about watching the game. And I told him, don't be anxious, don't be nervous. It's the Champions League, enjoy it. But you can't enjoy losing 6-0 away to Atletico Madrid. It's not in isolation. In the last few years, there have been 2 7s against PSG and Barcelona. There was a 6 against Barcelona. There was a 5 against Real Madrid last season. And you just wonder where it's gone wrong for Celtic. If you strip it back to the days of Martin O'Neill, Gordon Strachan, I think there was a spell between 2001 and 2012. Celtic had 21 group games at Celtic Park, and there was only 1 defeat in those 21 games. Celtic were punching their weight in the Champions League group stages, and since then it has, the days of beating Man United, Barcelona, Milan, Benfica, Villarreal, they seem consigned to history, because at the minute you wonder where Celtic's next win in this competition is going to come from.
Celtic's AGM is a week on Wednesday, and I think people will now be turning to the board, not turning on the board, turning to the board to say, this is appalling. The European record, home or away, is appalling. And that includes the time that Ange Postecoglou was there, and it includes Brendan Rodgers the first time around. They are an embarrassment to themselves in Europe. And for a club of their resources, and I know they cannot possibly compete with the Atletico Madrids of this world in terms of budget, but my goodness, they have to be better than the rubbish that they provide in Europe now.
And I think we trick ourselves sometimes into, David, feel on any issue thinking there's this one simple fix, there's a silver bullet, and the Celtic board just need to throw another few million quid at it and it'll automatically be better. Of course, in theory it should give you a better chance, but you do just wonder what it would take to guarantee more success there, or if it is about tweaking things and performing in a different way with what you've already got.
I think it's probably a bit of everything, Gordon, but I'd agree with what Roger and Hugh said. I think Celtic are at a real crossroads in terms of their relationship with the Champions League, and I think they need to think about their strategy. Now, that doesn't just mean wages and transfer fees. I think it also includes tactics and system. We spoke the last couple of years, it's been quite fun watching Celtic in Europe, but they just don't win games. I think in total it's 2 wins in the last 28 games. In the Champions League, 75 goals conceded across those 28 games as well. So Celtic as a club need to get together and say, you know what, if you're going to make Champions League next year, how do you stop this? How do you stop just losing games, only getting 2 points out of group, conceding goals left, right and centre? And I think it's a bit of everything. I think Brendan Rodgers might need to tweak his system. I think probably be a little bit harder to beat, but I think also at board level, instead of spending maybe between 1 and 2 million and 9 players, just go and get better players, go and get a bit more experience, because otherwise it's just going to be Groundhog Day. You're just going to go into Champions League, it'll be fun, you might play a couple of good performances, but by and large you're just going to get knocked out, and you're not even getting Europa League football after Christmas these days.
I suppose though, Mark, again we kind of treat them all as being the same type of challenge. There are different challenges even within the Champions League, and I'm not saying that Celtic fans would accept a 6-0 the other night, how could you? But had you, as a Celtic team, taken care of a much more winnable game at home to Lazio, when you're perfectly in control, you maybe somehow, we keep going back to this, something that Celtic don't ever seem to manage to do, you manage to grind something out, you get a point in Rotterdam. It's not brilliant. You go down to 10 men, somewhere like Atletico Madrid, it's a really sore one, you take it in the chin, but you've got a body of work there. But it feels like failure to win winnable games, and then failure to come even remotely close against the big boys, and it's all adding to just a difficult picture.
Yeah, that's certainly been the case this term, maybe a wee bit last term as well, and of course you need luck sometimes in those big games to go your way, but I've got to agree with David that when you look at Celtic in recent times in the Champions League, Brendan Rodgers first time round, Ange Postecoglou and Brendan Rodgers again, said it on Thursday night, sometimes I think it is more style over substance. That when you go back to Martin O'Neill's team, I think people forget Martin O'Neill's team wasn't incredibly entertaining and expansive to watch, but what they were good at is defending, and they had a threat up top with Larsson, Sutton and Hartson who would get the job done. Strachan's team was the same, compact, but they had guys that would pop up, and fundamentally it was keeping things tight and staying in the game. I think that shifted, and you're seeing some of the score lines that we've seen over the previous games.
This is a genuine question. It's not loaded to disagree with you. Is it the same now? That is 20 years ago. I know it doesn't feel that way, and then it feels like yesterday, and that's why we're able to recall it and draw comparisons. 20 years is a long time. Do you think you can still do that?
Opposed to why not?
Why could you not do it? It's a genuinely, I'm not disagreeing. I just wonder if it's
can
what
you
we
say.
say. Martin O'Neill's team did it. We say that as if it's not 20 years ago.
Well, of course, trends in football have changed.
Or the landscape of football,
of course,
or the golf, all that sort of stuff. Is it as relevant now?
I understand that if you know the Paris Saint-Germain's or Real Madrid's, Atletico Madrid's, or whoever, the absolute top tier, I understand that no club in Scotland can live with that. But Celtic lose to any level.
But I still think you can achieve that. I still think you can be a tighter unit than Celtic have been in this Champions League. I still think you can defend against better players for longer periods, and I think that's been Celtic's problem. They come up against better teams and outstanding world-class players, no doubt, but they're not resilient against them, and they give up too much space because there's this emphasis of going forward and playing this flashy attacking football. Now, it's great to watch, and I'm with David that I've loved watching Ange Postecoglou's team last year. By the way, I was at the Lazio game and I liked a lot what Celtic did, but you always just felt
Atletico at home, clearly
Atletico at home, it was brilliant, but you always just felt that when Atletico won the ball back, or Lazio won the ball back, that there was gaps there to be exploited. And it's a balance you need to get right, and if you want to go one way, you end up with results like we're seeing at the minute. If you want to be pragmatic and try and progress, and maybe you do need to change.
I think managers at the level of Brendan Rodgers, I think they weigh that up, Gordon. I don't think that we're sitting here telling Celtic they've got to be more defensive away from home. I think Brendan Rodgers will know all this, but he decides that that's the way he's got to go. Look, if I looked at the other night, the Atletico Madrid half time, just lost a goal half time, you get in, you're thinking this could be a sore one. This could be a sore one. They'll get their tails up. We've lost a goal. A heads go down the dressing room. You're down to 10 men. It's natural. You don't give him the criticism for that. But he comes out and he goes two up top. And I think that if you're Atletico Madrid manager, you're thinking, oh, happy days here. Now, that's not... Obviously, the score reflects it was wrong to go that way, because it could have been more than 6. It could have been a lot worse than 6. But I do believe that we're not kidding ourselves on here. That Brendan Rodgers, the experienced manager and a terrific manager he is, hasn't thought all of this out.
I think you make a really good point, and I don't say that lightly, because I know we give you a hard time, but is that why it must be this multifaceted issue? Because if it was just as simple as, oh, go on, sit back behind the ball a bit, be a bit tighter,
and we'll get more points,
Brendan Rodgers and Ange Postecoglou might have given it a go.
I totally agree. So they've weighed all this.
Do they have good enough players then? What is that the next issue? Because it must be something. You can't just shrug the shoulders.
I would submit that you have to factor in Celtic brought in 10 players, either on loan or permanent signings, in the summertime, and for the most part they have shown no sign of being the strength and depth that Brendan Rodgers requires.
Here's where he sum it up, Hugh. We discussed this on Tuesday night, and they talk about he'll not play Turnbull because he'll go for a more defensive sitting midfield player. We had all sorts of options. There's nobody in there you sit and you say, well, he's a stick
he's
on
the
him.
man for
he's
this.
a man. He's the one that's got to break things up. He's got to protect the back four. He's got to do. They had Bernardo, Mark, ex-Celtic player saying, no, I don't really fancy him that much. Awata was in there. People were saying yes and no. So home, people like that. So I think you make a good point. Brendan Rodgers has brought players, well, not brought players, been given players into the club. I think there'll be big changes.
And such is the way of the world, Roger Hanna. If we're reflecting on things like this, sometimes it's the negative slant or the bit that needs the most improvement that gets the most attention. Rangers just sort of went about their business in a bit more of a quiet and convincing manner on Thursday.
Yeah, they did, and it was an important win. I think, we said before the game, if Rangers could beat Sparta at home and beat Aris Limassol at home, that's them effectively into the knockout stages in the new year. So they're 50% of the way there. Terrific start the other night. The goals by Danilo and Todd Cantwell. They were slightly hanging on in the last few minutes, and there was that costly booking for Connor Goldson as well, which will put him out the Aris game. I mean, you think that John Souttar's in the injury list, and neither Leon Balogun nor Ridvan Yilmaz are in the European squad. That might cause a selection headache down the line for Philippe Clement, but another win for them. They're unbeaten, and the Ibrox on Thursday, when you compare it to what Ibrox was like, that Aberdeen game that finished off Michael Beale, it's night and day.
Now we'll park that for the moment because we've got some big Saturday business to take care of, and we'll go back around the grounds ahead of kick-off next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
4 big games in the Scottish Premiership this afternoon. A cracker between Motherwell and Hearts at Fir Park. Let's hear from Stuart Kettlewell briefly.
It becomes a big game, of course it does, because we want to win 3 points before we go into an international break, and that puts you in a real positive mindset. Our last victory, I think, was against Hearts at Tynecastle, so we know it's going to be a difficult game against one of the biggest clubs in the country.
I wonder how difficult this period is, Gabriel, when you start to have to sort of scramble around for solutions, because it was all so consistent. Why wouldn't it be? Motherwell were doing well, so you pick the same team every week, it's the same formation, but now we're seeing a relatively long-term injury to Paul McGinn, and even longer-term one to Lennon Miller, trying 3 up top and 2 up top, and maybe moving things around, and maybe it looks like Shane Blaney possibly at left back today. So Stuart Kettlewell clearly knows he's got solutions to find.
Yeah, certainly, Gordon. I'll just say on Shane Blaney, I've just seen the defence warming up, and it looks like it definitely will be Blaney at left back. In terms of the injuries, McGinn and Miller have been so crucial to what Motherwell have been doing, and doing well so far this campaign. So it is a big blow, those two missing several weeks. But I think in terms of changing up the formation, Kettlewell is just trying to find something that works, because he had a formula that was working clearly, as we all know, that they were the best team outside of the Old Firm for a large majority of this year, statistically wise, points wise, but it's not been working over the last 8 games. And the thing was, at the start of the run they lost to St Mirren, then had those defeats against the Old Firm as well, and in all of those games they could have at least drawn, arguably won some of those games. So I think that's why we saw him stick with the formation and tactics over this next spell. But now it's got to a point, 8 games without a win. He's starting to feel the heat. He's got to change something. But I like what we've seen today, Gordon, with 3 proper strikers on the park. He clearly wants goals, plenty of goals. Will we get that today? I hope so.
Well, going to be interesting. Tried it last week, I think, at Kilmarnock as well. Home game this time up against Hearts. Roger Hanna, just bring you in on this one. I know you've got your own game, which we'll get to in a second, but with your sort of journalistic hat on, can you quantify how much Stephen Naismith or how much Stuart Kettlewell needs a win today? What does it mean?
Yeah, they both hugely need wins. I'm very impressed with Stuart Kettlewell's work at the start of his era at Motherwell, the tail end of last season, and even the start of this season, Gordon. But he has hit the skids dramatically. As Daz said at the top of the show, he really does need a win. The injuries don't help. I know John Obika's back in the bench today. He's recently Callum Butcher back. It's his 3rd or 4th game. But, losing Lennon Miller, losing Paul McGinn, losing Pab Soiree for lengthy periods of time. It's a real blow when you carry as small a squad as Motherwell do. And as for Stephen Naismith, Hugh summed it up well at the top of the show. Out the League Cup semi-finals last week with a whimper. Not doing particularly well. It could slip out the top 6 if things go adversely for them at Fir Park this afternoon. Rumblings among the support. There was a story in one of the Edinburgh newspapers through the week of discontent among some of the board as well. So I would actually say Stephen Naismith is in bigger need of a result than Stuart Kettlewell.
Well, it's going to be an interesting afternoon at Fir Park. But in your own game, Roger Hanna, I suppose if you're assessing that, then if you're looking at it from Motherwell's perspective, you think, okay, well, how in danger are they? Are there teams that are going to finish below them in the league if you go down that sort of line? St Johnstone and Ross County, it's still so tight in that division. Chance for these two to show that it's not going to be a basement battle, even though David Friel, which we'll speak to in a minute, had St Johnstone written off a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and if St Johnstone win today, as we said at the top of the show, and we're just going to go here, Gordon, actually to a minute's silence for remembrance.
Of course, I'm forgetting it's getting that late in the day, I must admit. I didn't expect it at 8 minutes to 3. I thought we would go a bit closer to kick-off, has to be said, Hugh Keevins.
Yeah, unusual. But, it's to be respected, whatever time of day it takes place.
It's a big game, that, though, because, St Johnstone, Gordon, you've seen the signs when you win your first, well, it wasn't under Craig Levein, but you win the first game post Stephen McLean, and you then go 2 up in the second. You think, hold on a minute. But Motherwell fought back, and we need a bigger sample here. We need to see if there is going to be any significant improvement.
Yeah, and the lure, as you said earlier, of St Johnstone going off the bottom of the table, that gives you some confidence, especially a new manager coming in. 4 points out of the last 6. They would have been disappointed throwing a 2-goal lead away. I think that'll be a difficult game this afternoon. I think Ross County travel well. I think they've got players in the top end of the pitch that can hurt you. So I would expect goals there in Perth this afternoon.
The irony being that, of course, David Martindale, the Livy manager, could have been the St Johnstone manager today had he accepted their offer. But how do you like his luck? He's lost 4 on the bounce, David Martindale. He could be bottom of the league by 5 o'clock tonight, and he's playing Rangers tomorrow. Yeah,
Hibs against Kilmarnock, David Friel. You can, of course, if you wish, defend yourself after we reminded everyone that you said St Johnstone were gone a couple of weeks ago. I know you have got 2 other teams to watch this afternoon.
I am going to stand by my prediction, Gordon.
Wow.
I'm going to don't back down, double
exactly,
down.
Lemmy, well
once
done.
Said. I still think St Johnstone will go down. I still think the other teams are better. The game today, I just find it really intriguing in terms of what to expect from Hibs. There's so much attacking threat here, but I'm starting to think their defence is just letting them down one too many times. Big day for David Marshall and his back 4, obviously. During the week, 92nd minute, Lewis Jameson equaliser for St Mirren. We all saw the Bojan Majowski goal for Aberdeen's 10 men last week, and then obviously the Ross County game as well when Hibs threw away a 2-0 lead. So yeah, I think it's a big day for them. And I think Kilmarnock, you look at the team lineup, I'll probably use the word sturdy to sum up Kilmarnock today. I think they'll be very resilient, very structured, very organised, and they'll get in about Hibs. I'm really looking forward to seeing young David Watson again in the middle of the park. Gordon, we all bemoan the lack of kind of young talent coming through in Scotland and getting a chance, but every time I see him he's just so impressive. Last week against Motherwell he was everywhere. Dermot McInnes obviously high hopes for him. He's still only 18, so he'll be playing, he'll be rampaging about Easter Road today, so it's all set up for a good one here.
Yeah, let's hear from Derek McInnes then ahead of that game.
Nick, his first game was against us, and it's clear he's what he wants from his team. They've got a clear identity, what they want to be. They normally try and play like a 4-2-4 effectively, very attack minded, and they've got players that, when those attacking players are on top of their game, can cause you problems. So we're well aware of the abilities of Hibs. We've got an understanding roughly how they want to play under Nick, and hopefully we can be good enough to overcome that.
Let's hear from Stephen Robinson, because Dundee St Mirren is a fascinating one as well.
Look, I think they've signed Premiership players. As I say, Tony's signed a lot of players. He's been around the Scottish game a long time. He's got a lot of contacts, and I think it's credit to him. He's signed very well, and as I say, he's signed seasoned SPL players that have come in and hit the ground running. So that's credit to them. It'll be a tough game for us, but we've been decent away from home. We've managed to rectify the things that were causing us problems last year, and we need to continue to do that.
I wonder how many teams in our top flight are genuinely delighted with their start to the season. I feel like maybe St Mirren, Kilmarnock, would there be any others? Because Celtic are top, but they've got really high standards and they're out of a cup. Rangers are sort of getting there, but they can't be delighted overall because they had to sack a manager. Maybe Dundee, but I wonder if there's anyone who's actually purely satisfied with their start to the season other than St Mirren and maybe Killie.
Don't think so. Because this is a league, I'm excluding Celtic and Rangers here. This is a league of 10 teams who can, as this season's progress has shown, move up the league on not very much. Say St Mirren all of a sudden haven't won in their last 5 games. Ross County haven't won in their last 5 games. Nick Montgomery hasn't won his last 5 games.
St Mirren not have one win in the last 5? I think they do. Yeah. No, they do. They've got a win in there.
Yeah,
they've got a win in the middle.
I think you're right to highlight Dundee though. If you're looking at any club, it'll be delighted. If you've played 11 games and only lost 3 of them, one against Rangers, one against Celtic, Tony Dock will be happy.
Come on, it's not even 3 o'clock. You've upset him. Look at him.
He's
checking there.
flicking through his stats pack.
Checking. I beg your pardon, Stephen Robinson. One win in 5. Your jacket is not yet on the Sugarly peg, but it's moving closer.
Well, what a big afternoon this could be. Teams needing wins across the division, and we'll get the kickoffs next.
Tackle the headlines. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are here. We've got 4 big Premiership games this afternoon, some fantastic fixtures down the divisions, previewing tomorrow's games as well. There is a lot happening, so let's get you 3 duds to give us your 4-game Premiership meaningless ACCA this afternoon. The only thing at stake here is your pride and your ego, so take it away.
I have no pride or ego. How could I have? I am going for Motherwell and Hearts to be a draw, Hibernian to get the first win of Nick Montgomery's time there, St Johnstone losing to Ross County, and St Mirren winning at Dundee.
I think Stephen Naismith will get a much needed win at Fir Park against Motherwell. I think it will be a draw at Easter Road between the Hibs and Killie. Craig Levein will get a win against Ross County, and I think St Mirren will beat Dundee.
I'm not going against Motherwell, sticking with the Steelmen. So Motherwell, Kilmarnock away to Hibs at Easter Road.
Wow.
Ross County and Dundee.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. Make your life that little bit easier. Use their free prescription delivery.
And indeed we are underway then. Let's see who gets the closest to those 3 predictions. I suspect none of them, because that's the way it tends to go. You can stay in touch all afternoon on Twitter at Clyde SSB, and as usual on a Saturday afternoon I will give you the nod, and we will get the phone lines open a bit later on to look back on today's action and to preview tomorrow's games as well, because tomorrow's going to be a cracking day, Hugh.
Oh yeah, magnificent. It's all about the psychology Sunday. Rangers 8 points behind Celtic. They will beat Livingston, who are now 4 losses on the bounce, and will be perhaps bottom of the league table before it even kicks off. So although Philippe Clement has no time at all for artificial surfaces in the professional leagues, he will make the most of it, and the gap will be cut to 5. Celtic, how do you respond to that 6-0 mauling in Madrid, and you've lost Maeda, and there is no one to replicate Maeda? There is no Maeda light at Celtic Park. He's going to be a huge loss. It's going to be a troublesome day for Celtic, but they're going to have to rise above everything, because Philippe Clement is closing in.
Aberdeen, of course, going there tomorrow. We've got our first goal in Scotland. Partick Thistle 1, Morton 0. Mark Wilson,
Yes.
your employers.
Yes.
I mean, unlike the under-18s last
How'd you
night,
go?
how
How'd you
did
go?
it finish?
Tell the listening audience.
It was a narrow 2-0 defeat.
It's a narrow.
Back-to-back defeats.
By the way, he's
I know.
conceding
Pressure's on.
goals for fun.
The
This is,
Peters Hill Pep, 2 back-to-back defeats.
he's the new Michael Beale. I'm telling you, the fans will be on here.
Football at that level is not about results. It's about developing players. It's not about
correct,
results.
yeah.
All right,
Correct.
well,
That's where it's
what
gone
you
wrong.
do is you
Well
develop
put.
your players into a great habit of losing every game. Well done, Hugh.
They have to be aware of what a losing mentality is.
Well, you're certainly the man
win.
to take them for.
Yeah,
No better
they
teacher.
played, they played very
trouble.
well.
That's the trouble with the media today. There's Gordon Dalziel, media member, 2 games into the Wilson reign in
I took him
Partick
out.
Thistle, and he's
Exactly.
already started to criticise. You see, what chance have we got?
Yeah, that's the media.
You've
That's
got
that
a-
mainstream media
You've
for
got
you.
a 33% win rate, which is roughly the same as your Beat the Pundit win rate this season.
It's alright, I'm happy with that. If
when
it
you
drops below 30,
When you look at it that way.
I'll say, no.
I'm
What
coming
good
along. I'm
ideas?
coming along to next game.
No. You're.
I need to sort you out here. I need to steer you in the right direction.
Imagine him turning up my shirt and tie.
Oh,
like he did at St Mirren the
My
other
new
night.
coat.
Aye, that's your level. Those days are gone. The old shirt and ties are gone.
Look, you
In
turn
fact,
up. You
I've
turn
seen
up
Aaron
respectable.
Postecoglou with a shirt and tie on today.
Respectable.
So
Did he have a New Balance jacket over the top of it? And he was managing. He wasn't just
where did you get that
spectating.
New Balance
There's
jacket?
there's a great story to it, and I can't tell.
Who's gave you it for free?
Well, I never bought it, but it's Look, it's came from different avenues.
I just love the thought
Doesn't
of
he
it,
go
right?
with his shirt and tie?
It's just him
and the suit?
in the mirror, right, Dazzler? Big night out. It's a big night out at St Mirren.
Yeah.
Where's my tie? Right, hold on. Get a nice Windsor knot. Look the part. Go and make an impression on people. Show that you're a mover and shaker in the world of Scottish football.
You don't
Man of
listen. You don't
substance.
listen. That I wasn't supposed to be there.
Nonsense.
I was doing
Absolute
my yearly. I have
nonsense.
a day here. I get dressed. I get into the town. I feel festive. I do a bit of Christmas shopping. Look about. Speak to people. Have a wee.
Do you know what's
coffee.
disturbing about this, right? Obviously that's not true, right? But because if it was, that isn't the defence you think it is. That's actually much weirder.
Why?
Than the original story.
Then you just stumble upon a game at St Mirren.
No, I
for
actually,
your Christmas
I
shopping.
actually met a St Mirren supporter who I know, and I says to him, "All right, you go." I says,
Listen,
"I'll
that's
tell
a
you
lie.
what."
'Cause you don't do anything
I
off
know.
the cuff.
Yeah,
You don't.
off the cuff. I'm coming to the game. And
I think your
£16
story is 100% true.
Every
I'm going to a
Saturday
game.
now-
This is a serious look.
16 quid.
I tell you what, I need a suit for
Every
this.
Saturday now I look to my left hand side and I think lies, deceit, corruption.
By the way, I hope you're looking two places to the left.
Are you
Hugh.
talking about
Two
me or the
places.
man in the middle?
No, the man in the middle is developing young footballers.
Yes, thank you, Hugh.
Anyway, we've had some openings in the early stages. Martin Boyle's actually scored, but he's offside. I hope he didn't knee slide this time. That is the last thing we need. There was a nice Cruyff turn from Jar Tavares as well. That went wide. Alex Lowry had a chance for Motherwell. Theo Bayer should have done better with a header as well. So quite a bit happening in the early stages. No goals yet. So I'll tell you what, Hugh, let's do this before we go any further.
Half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Excluding Ange Postecoglou, Ange isn't in it. 6 men who have managed in Scotland have won the English Premier League Manager of the Month award since 2009. Can you name them? So leave out Ange. 6 men who have managed in Scotland have won the English Premier League Manager of the Month award since 2009. Who are they?
Yeah, Ange's done it 3 times in a row, but lost today, a late double from Wolves.
Wolves did a Celtic on Ange.
They did indeed. So that's a great question. That at Clyde SSB, it's tough, it's doable. There's nothing from left field. You can all manage a good attempt at that, I think. So at Clyde SSB, get all your answers down on one tweet. Fire them over to at Clyde SSB and we'll see who is the winner. If you'd like to see the question written down, you'll also find it there on the Twitter feed as well, although I will remind you sporadically as the afternoon progresses.
To explain that remark, Wolves were 1 down to Tottenham into the period of time added on and scored twice. So when Ange was at Celtic, he had a habit of doing things like that. But Wolves have done a Celtic on Ange.
Trying to tell me that Spurs did in fact stop this afternoon.
They appear to have.
And it was certainly a dramatic end. We just caught the end of it as we were coming into the studio. East Fife 0, Dumbarton 1. Calvin Orsay with the goal there, as the visitors take the lead against East Fife. I told you already about that Partick Thistle goal as well. So they're the only 2, I think, in Scottish football at the moment. And of course we will keep you up to speed on anything that does happen, particularly in those featured games that we've got as well. So Motherwell have started brightly, which I'm sure Stuart Kettlewell will be happy with, but similarly he would take a rank rotten performance and a win. It goes without saying. So Liam Donnelly's got a chance for Kilmarnock. Nice touch from a corner, kind of swiveled and hits it over the bar in the end. Danny Armstrong started that one lively there for Kilmarnock, as he usually does.
Now is not the time.
Goals in that one.
Now's not the time to worry about artistic merit. There are several managers there who need the result. Nick Montgomery, Naismith, even Avro's Uncle Craig. I mean, I know it's his second game, but it would be a big psychological lift to everyone at the club if St Johnstone were to go off the bottom, which they could do by beating Ross County.
This is what I like about Craig Levein. He doesn't feel the need to go and make things so complicated, right? Because he's ditched the usual managerial, everyone's going for that similar kind of modern attire. If they're not in the tracksuit, they certainly don't go for suits like yourself. They'll try the Pep sort of change, revolutionised it. You get the kind of tight jumper, the chinos or whatever.
What is he going for?
He's gone for like old school chinos, just
big baggy numbers,
just baggy cream chinos.
He's had them since
Golden
days.
Black jacket, just no concern for style whatsoever. Just go out there and try and get the job done.
Does Craig Levine remind you of a geography teacher?
It's not a bad shout from you, actually.
It looks like
that is
any
not a bad shout.
Geography teacher I ever came across in the education system looks like Craig Levine.
It's been a while since you saw a geography teacher, right enough.
Well, I had to go to the kids' parents' nights and all that stuff, so
that's true. Falkirk 0, Edinburgh City 1. Here's your shock result of the day. If that stays, Innes Murray, that is a real shocker. Falkirk flying, Edinburgh City the absolute opposite of flying.
Crashed.
Innes Murray has put them 1 up at Falkirk, so that would be quite the score line if it was to end anything close to that. We'll keep an eye on it and see what happens come, I was going to say 4:45. At least the lower division still finish a bit closer to 4:45. We're 5 o'clock shot here in the Premiership now, aren't we?
That's
with
the other
VAR
VAR complication.
That's why the fans should be happy. They're getting more for their money. They're getting, for their ticket price, they're getting a solid 2 hours.
Malky Mackay out today saying that he thinks that the amount of time added on is having a physical effect, a physical impact on players, because the games are going to 100
but
minutes.
They're stopping.
I know, that's the I was never that sure.
Come on,
it's
I'm not buying that.
It's 4 stoppages.
So they're not moving.
I was never
sure stoppages.
Don't shout at me. Take it up with Malky Mackay.
Yeah.
The one thing I do sympathise, Stephen Robertson highlighted the cost behind it for each club. Now it's fine for Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen, Hibs, but the further down the leagues you go, it's a lot of money.
Here, let's try and do a different spin on VAR here, right? And this is, I'm a bit worried this doesn't work, because we just prefer to be angry and spiteful, and we like to feel robbed, and a sense of injustice. So let's try this on Twitter, right? I'm looking for honesty from you. I'm looking for integrity. I'm looking for you to hold your hands up to fans of all teams. Which famous goal from your team's history, a goal that your team scored, would you admit would have been chopped off had VAR been in place? Right? Because everybody can moan about decisions that have gone against us. That's too easy. I'm looking for honesty and integrity. Think back over the famous goals that your team have scored. You celebrated them, you went crazy, but now, if you were honest, you would admit that VAR would have ruled it out. Let's see if we can get a bit of honest discussion on a Saturday afternoon. Send me all your examples at Clyde SSB. I mean, Mark Wilson, as an example, with the ref, there was no handball when you thundered that beautiful volley.
No, just pure technique
over Sasa Papac's face or whatever it was.
Should have ruled it out
for damages to football.
No,
I tell you what,
so there was definitely no.
I don't think so. No, unless you're going to tell me.
I'll go and watch it back right now. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was all right. But here's one: Celtic against Rangers. Chris Sutton's goal. Was it Chris Sutton's goal in the 6-2 game?
He scored the first and the last.
He was offside.
Right, and you're admitting that? You're saying, look, okay, Celtic fan, hands up.
He would have been. I'm pretty sure. So who knows how that would have went?
I don't want you to go with this.
Talk us through the build up to yours.
Are you talking about the cup final? I knew you were going to do that.
I genuinely don't know. I've not had time to look up every goal that you were all involved in.
Should yours have been?
No,
I don't know. I hope so.
No. If anything was offside, it would have been probably my nose. Yeah.
But bear in mind, any handball now, or anything like that, fouls in the attacking phase of play.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're not getting the medal back.
Roger Hannah's got a good example, Hugh. I'm relying on you for this. I mean, obviously I've seen it and I'm aware of it. 1977, Scotland v Wales.
The handball at Anfield.
Jordan handball.
I always thought, because Joe, the nicest man in the world, every time you asked him, he smiled. Joel Jordan's hand was the one that touched the ball, not Joey Jones. For me.
So hands up, no pun intended. We can admit that as Scotland fans. Had VAR been here, that goal would not have stood.
Yep. If the recalibrated lines had been drawn.
I'm liking where this is going. Mark Wilson's given us one. You've given us, well, you just don't remember anything from your career, do you?
I thought it was all about timing. I hope nobody looks at that, because I won't sleep tonight.
Okay, YouTube's
thinking
Gordon Dalziel
that
Cup
I've
final
outdone
goal.
I've
Let's have a
outdone
look at it.
Celtic with winning a cup. I would hate to think that was the
There would
case.
be something ironic about that what you've lived off would be some sort of
fraudulent and dishonest. You're right. That is irony. You are absolutely correct.
Every
Mark
time you
Wilson.
look at him, lies, deceit, and corruption.
Not at all. That was never offside.
Okay, I'll do one and admit it, because I'd like to pretend this wasn't the case. What are we talking, 2015 probably? Maybe got my years wrong.
Oh, I know what you're going to say. Aberdeen.
Motherwell go to Pittodrie.
100%.
They need a result.
Oh, the back post one.
To finish second.
Yeah.
It gets to the end of the game. Keith Lasley, regular listener, although he's probably busy at the moment, fires a beautifully flighted free kick up towards Jamie Langfield's goal. John Sutton commits GBH on Jamie Langfield. Referee's not interested. Motherwell nearly miss, but Craig Reid eventually bundles it over the line. The rest is history. Second place is secure. It's taken me a while, but 8 years on, I would admit, had VAR been in place, I'm not sure that goal would have stood.
And was that the Champions League year after that? Champions League experience, yeah, so that would have been taken away for you. Oh, what a kick in the teeth.
goalkeepers get
Who was
protected.
it, Aberdeen? Would Aberdeen finish second in the league that year? Disgraceful. Yeah.
Full disclosure from Gordon Duncan.
Yep, there we go. Honesty. We're honest individuals. We don't mind that, and I want to see how many examples you can come up with as well. Let's see what you've got for us there, because I think we can just about do honesty. Surely we can do that.
I think offsides.
By the way, I was way out in the. I don't know why I had that year in my head. I think it was 2012, was it? Yeah, I think it might have been.
It was 2012.
No, I'm getting mixed up with a few different games.
I think you're
here.
right.
I
think 2014-15 round about then.
The year's not important. It's the circumstances that are important.
That's true. That is very true. Oh, hold on. I've actually got one of these to tell you about.
With M&D Green Pharmacy.
And we've got a goal, and it's for Dundee. It's Bakayoko. Saints couldn't clear the corner. It's a powerful drive into the net, and an impressive start to the season for Dundee continues.
I told you I fancied him today.
Yeah.
You just don't listen. I was at watched St Mirren at Wednesday night. I was very surprised with Stephen Robinson coming out and saying it was probably one of our best performances this season. I didn't see it that way. I thought it was a battling performance to get a late goal. Unfortunately, I was in the M8 and missed it. But I thought that Dundee at home, I watched a bit of their game against Livingston. They're doing all right, Dundee. They've got some good players.
Tony Dock has waited a long time in the shadows. Formed a great partnership with Derek McInnes, but he stepped out and stepped up. And Stephen Robinson, when you played the clip earlier on, said he's been around the game a long time, Tony Docherty, and he's signed good players. And in essence, that's what it's all about. He's signed players who will be good at keeping Dundee in a reasonable position and not troubled by relegation.
Yeah, so it's a good start, that. Bakayoko putting Dundee in front. Peterhead lead Stranraer, the Spartans lead Stenhousemuir, and Hamilton Accies lead Stirling Albion. 2014 is Craig Reid Day. I've eventually squared up my mind for the suitable memory.
Where has the time gone?
I know. Tell me about it.
Tell me. Don't tell me.
We've got some coming in on Twitter, actually, which I don't mind. Granty, and he's not the only one as well. Scott Kane on Twitter saying Chris Julian League Cup final against Rangers was definitely offside, which makes it even better. He says, and sometimes that's the way it works. So let's see what else we've got there.
If they'd drawn the wee line, he probably would have been.
John the Bomb tweeted, say, a Stephen Craig. It's a throw in. I do remember this. I think this sealed top 6 for Motherwell. I can't remember what the sort of indiscretion would be, but he famously opened the gate and went into the East Stand to run out and then take the throw, which you're probably not allowed to do now that I think about it.
I won't be in the rules.
Pulled that back.
I won't be in the rules.
No, but
Somebody's left the ground.
I don't know if it's that or whether it was a long throw, and I think a bit of debate about whether it actually touched anyone. I think that's maybe where John the Bomb's going. He can tell me more. You know, it just kind of bounced in the box and ended up going in into the back of the net. So there we go.
See that happens. I think it should be allowed to stand because it's such poor defending and goalkeeping.
No, have you not seen what's the clip from the other night? Did you not see it? I can't remember which league it is. So it's an indirect free kick, right? But only maybe like 40 yards out. It goes to kind of whip across in, and unbelievable presence of mind from the goalkeeper. It bounces on his 6-yard line, so he just moves out the way and lets it go in because he knows it's not touched anymore.
Really?
Unbelievable. Your heart would be in your mouth.
I take it the other team must have celebrated it. They couldn't have been as quick. It
happened quite quickly, but yeah, he just moves right out the way. But if he tries that, if it hits him, if he just skiffs his chest and goes in, you're in trouble. So
here's you in front against a Broth 1-0.
Yeah, indeed.
I love that name, Liam McStravick, who scored for Airdrie.
Right, just you two talk amongst yourself. Oh, by the way, I think
some crackers coming in.
I think there is a hint of offside about your goal against Celtic.
Don't start that.
Yes, I knew
it. A minute. You've opened a can of worms.
Right, do you know what I need here? Calibrated lines. That is what I need. And
I can't really
the camera angle. So who's that? Is that
Jason Dare?
Jason Dare with the shuffle, the left foot.
Yeah, I've just made that move right in time. And do you know something?
I think there's a chance.
I taught that throughout my career to younger players coming through the ranks.
I think there's
timing
a chance,
of the run. When the ball hits your boot, boom, you're in. It's just the pace. Remember, I was
that
very
your coaching point?
Yeah.
As soon as that ball hits somebody's boot, you're in.
You're in.
I think there is a chance.
The reward's yours.
Anyway, keep
Would you
that
be
going.
gutted if you found that out?
I would be more pleased if I found that out.
Let's see if we can be honest and forthright. So all the negativity, all the arguing about VAR, I'm wondering which goal that your team scored would have been ruled out due to VAR. You can admit it now because it's all in the history books. For some people, as they've said, it might even make it better for you. So which goal that your team scored would you admit would have been ruled out had VAR been in operation? I've given you Craig Reed's famous goal for Motherwell to finish second ahead of Aberdeen. Fine, I can admit it. Mark Wilson has given you Chris Sutton's in the 6-2. We think Gordon Dalziel, the most famous goal of his entire career, might have been offside.
We don't think that at all.
Discredited.
You actually take you take my history away from me and everything. You've killed me on this show.
What are you going to do on the 30th anniversary of that goal? Have you Ratherwell's got things planned?
I've no idea, Hugh. I don't
next
get
year,
involved
isn't
it? It's next year, yeah.
Chris is on. Chris is a Rangers fan. He says the foul on Kirk Broadfoot that Willie Collum awarded for a penalty without seeing the incident.
100%.
Hey, this is not about crying about injustice.
100%.
Hold on. This is Chris is a Rangers fan.
Yeah,
this is his memory to own. Okay.
Chris.
He says Big Kenny then scored the penalty.
That was outrageous.
And we can admit it now.
Willie Collum will go down in history as the man who said he heard contact.
I tell you what would have happened there. He would have been called over to the monitor and just done something abnormal and stuck with his decision. That's what Willie would have done in that situation.
Rogers is here for 10 in a row, so no doubt which team this tweeter supports. Massimo Donati's winner in the Champions League against Shakhtar Donetsk. Were you involved?
No.
See, this is what I love about these, because people now know, like, I would never have known this about the goal. The tweeter says that Aidan McGeady took the throw in whilst on the pitch. Apparently. Okay. So there we go.
Why do the supporters not flag it up on the day?
Rather
than wait for years later.
It's a good one. There must be loads out there.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Spalding Hoop says the 1989 Scottish Cup final. You know where that one's going.
Yeah, Joe Miller.
It was a Rangers throw-in.
It was too.
It was sure.
This is weird, because this is just supposed to be a bit of fun, right? I don't really want to get caught up in the semantics of it, but VAR wouldn't have intervened there because the attacking phase of play, that sort of stuff. Let's not get too technical about it.
The referee just lost the place, and it was a Rangers throw, but I think it was Roy Aitken that grabbed the ball.
That's right, yep, it was.
And Josie scored the goal and then ran towards the Rangers end until Peter Grant gave him a rugby tackle to move him in another direction.
Do you know what's great? There are not even that many people that are missing the point on this. I mean, there are some, obviously, as is par for the course on social media, but there we go. There you are. I mean, serial treble winners. I can think of plenty that were ruled out that would have been reversed. Cadet and Hartson spring to mind. But come on, this is supposed to have a different feel to
Have
it.
fun.
We moan about injustices every night on this show. This is the chance to do something a little bit different. Let's see how we can go. Any more goals going in at the moment?
No.
I don't think so. None in our Scottish divisions anyway. Conor McMenamin's dragged a shot wide. St Mirren good possession but creating little. They are a goal down. David Friel's actually taken a screenshot of the goal you scored.
And how's it looking?
And he's done what people do when they send tweets to us and think they've
Has he put lines in
he's
it?
drawn a really squinty line on it, just to try and prove the point that you might have been
No.
offside.
What's Friel getting involved? Tell him to stick to his amateur football. where
He's
good.
retired now. He's retired.
Is he retired?
Yeah, he's hung up the boots after a long.
Sammy Stout,
You would have been disadvantaged by VAR because body parts, as I always say.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say, Sean.
The proboscis would have put you in trouble.
Do you know something? It's a bad day in my life when I'm sitting here taking criticism for a man like you.
What does that mean?
I've got to say.
What does that mean? He's having a go at you.
He's having a go, man.
A
Who's this man?
man like me. What does that mean?
I don't know.
He usually takes this stuff well, but do you know what it is? We've found what the real issue here. We're questioning the goal. The goal that he's
dined out
on for years. Don't worry, we can't take it away from you. It's just
you got a night coming up at Wraith Rovers as well.
So
now it's out there. That could be withdrawn.
I actually think maybe my first one against Celtic at Parkhead at Rangers.
Well, do you know what? That popped up there on YouTube as well, and I was going to have a look at it.
No way. For offside?
I think my 200 were a bit doubtful. The first 200, I think, were sort of a borderline, I've got to say, and then the rest are just outside the box.
That's the thing. A lot of your game would have been taken away from you because I bet you just played on that last shoulder. It just went early all the time.
Killed defenders with my timing.
Because the assistant refs back then wouldn't be in the same shape they're in now. They wouldn't be able to keep up with you.
Benefit of the doubt for a striker, it's called, Mark. Making the run.
I like this. Ian Taggart has tweeted one in. We did say, goals for your team that you can admit shouldn't have stood. After all this time, Hugh, can we all admit that the hand of God goal probably shouldn't have stood?
Correct.
Nah, I think that's still alright, that one.
I don't think it's
not a clear and obvious error for me. On we go.
What would VAR have done for Jeff Hurst, the World Cup final as well?
True, very true. Colin says not club, but Barry Ferguson for Scotland against Italy in 2007 shouldn't have stood. There we go, he's admitting it. There we go.
Can I just give you a quick reminder, excluding Ange Postecoglou?
Why did we have to interrupt it for one of these?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Goal for Hearts. It's Alex Lowry with an in-swinging corner. Frankie Kent got the first contact, and then if you're looking for one man to turn it into the back of the net, there's a good chance it will be Lawrence Shankland. Motherwell 0, Hearts 1.
Well, the captain leading from the front. Big goal for Stephen Naismith and Frankie McAvoy, but it's only 3:25. Plenty of time.
Still positive, Hugh, but not the start that Motherwell were looking at, especially at home. They're trying this 3 strikers up top again. You can't have a goal not trying, but it's okay saying we've got 3 strikers. You've got to get the ammunition up there to them, and it's got to be difficult after that.
There's no chance of VAR looking at it.
I'd like to think so, but no, I think it stood certainly. And this, I suppose, goes back to kind of where these teams should be or kind of think they are. Stuart Kettlewell struggling to find a solution up front. I mean, we'd take Lawrence Shankland in a heartbeat, but maybe that's why some of the criticism of Hearts is louder, because with that squad, should they be doing better with that budget, with their standing in the game? Is that why it's sort of extra critical for Stephen Naismith, if that makes any sense?
Without doubt. Hearts should, with their infrastructure, where their budget, should be in third position. I think we all understand that.
Or at least contesting
it with Aberdeen if you're going on budgets. So that's why he's under pressure. But Motherwell, that's a 20th goal conceded in the league this season. So joint bottom in that respect. Don't need to be a genius to work out where the problems are.
Roger Hanna had that very interesting piece of information that there are rumours of a rift on the Hearts board over the manager's future. So he's living game by game, and he really needs a win at Motherwell just to keep everything calmed down, because international breaks are notorious.
Yeah.
Michael Beale was delivered the sack in the international break earlier this season, so you don't want to go into the international break giving board members the chance to say, look, he's lost again, we need to do something about this.
Well, they are ahead. Lawrence Shankland's goal putting Hearts 1 up at Motherwell with 27 minutes on the clock. Hugh, remind us of your teaser if you can, please.
Excluding Ange Postecoglou, 6 men who have managed in Scotland have won the English Premier League Manager of the Month award since 2009. Name them.
Some very good attempts coming in. Let's try and eliminate some wrong ones to help you along the way. Glaswegian Icarus says Billy Davis.
No.
Malky Mackay.
Malky's not there.
Okay, what else have we got? Murnetti has got this. Well, I can see the thinking there, but he didn't win it, did he? Steven Gerrard.
No, he did not.
Ali wants to throw in George Burley.
Throw him back out.
Okay. Jamie, no, never mind, because that one is a correct answer, so let's not go there. We'll do a Mark Wilson. Ian Stewart would like to suggest Paul Lambert,
as did Mark Wilson on his list, but it's not the case.
There we go. Okay. Right, VAR's having a look at something, because Liam Boyce is suggesting he's taking a whack in the face. He's rolling around. Ref hasn't seen it. That's kind of what VAR's there for, if there is something untoward, so we'll keep an eye there and see if any knock-on effects come from that one, but we'll wait and see. Morton have got a penalty. Kirk Broadfoot's fouled in the Partick Thistle box.
Have a look at it. Was Wally the ref?
I don't know, actually. I would guess not, but I'm not entirely sure, so there we go. Still waiting at Fir Park to see what the outcome of that is. All the refs going over to the monitor. So what did we say? Motherwell probably going to be down to 10 men. Is that would be the
Morton have equalised?
Yeah, Morton have from the penalty spot. Grant Gillespie, a reliable penalty taker throughout his career, he's stuck it away, and it looks like
has he gone from bad to worse for the Steelmen?
This could it could be a penalty, so it's something that's in the box, so that's what the issue is, and I guess potentially a red card as well, but it is in the box, so it looks like a penalty. If the ref's over at the monitor, as you guys were saying earlier, they don't tend to stick with.
No.
Well, although, do you know what, there is no original decision if you've missed it. Do you know what I mean? If this is something that the ref hasn't seen, that's kind of what it's there for. But we'll wait and see. You have to suspect something is going to be doing here at Fir Park. There we go. I take that back. The ref did see this, so yeah, the original decision doesn't look like it's going to be stuck by, because he did wave it away at the time.
The additional worry, if you're in Stuart Kettlewell's position, is that nothing is going your way. You've lost Lennon Miller for 3 months because of injury. You had other Palmer other bad injuries on top of a very poor run of form, and now VAR may be on your case as well.
And then you're talking about the international break. Right after that, you go to Celtic Park.
Yeah.
So problems, got to say. I'm all for
no penalty. There we are.
Oh, well, that's just proved us all wrong.
They were obviously listening. You asked and they delivered. Decides to stick with his own decision.
I like that.
A collector's item. I like that. It has been done before. It obviously just doesn't happen that often.
Rare.
Was it not? Was it Nick Walsh?
Did Willie Collum not do it?
And you just like to protect Willie Collum every week on you.
You did you not?
Was it not the playoff game? Partick Thistle, Ross County. There was
remember.
one that was stuck with on that.
But we don't see it often,
occasion.
and
we do not.
We've not seen the decision, but look at the referee.
We've not even seen it, but we'll just say well done.
Well, you know what? He's stood by his original decision, and you've got to applaud that. At least he's got the courage, to do it. And I don't see many refs don't do it. So lifeline it might be for Motherwell, because if they go 2 down, and the space of a few minutes, then it is real problem. But they're still in there with a chance.
Well, it's certainly a nice wee twist of fate. Back was in, penalty, man off, no chance of coming back. But a little twist of fate in Stuart Kettlewell's favour.
And we finished strong at Fir Park. Always remember that, Hugh. We showed that against Ross County.
I love this from Gillian, because we asked, honesty here. which goal from your team's history you celebrated it at the time, but you would admit now that VAR would have ruled it out. Gillian says years ago Aki's had a shot go wide, it ended up behind the goal, the ball boy behind the goal put it under the net and the referee gave the goal. I'd like to see that.
Well done, the ball boy.
Certainly sounds good to me. I'm happy with that. Luke Reynolds says Chris Commons against Dundee United at Hampden, Scottish Cup semi-final.
I can't remember it. No,
I must admit I don't. It's not one that springs to mind, but I will take Luke's word for it, because you're not going to make this up. It's your own team, isn't it? It's just taking a lot for people to admit this stuff.
No way in this world Chris would ever admit it.
Oh, there's one from Michael. This is big. Are you sure you want to do this? He says Hartson against Celta Vigo would have been ruled out for a foul on the defender. Celtic would have lost the tie and not made it to Seville. He says, Michael, you've taken that a bit far, I must admit. But I did ask for honesty and integrity. But there we got lots of Celtic fans admitting, saying Christopher Julian. Right, okay, don't mind it, I'll admit it was offside. Inverness have taken the lead against Ayr United. There was always the feeling that this would turn out to be a good signing for the Championship at that level. David Witherspoon,
it's a terrific signing.
32 minutes on the clock, he has scored.
Big Dunk still unbeaten as the Calais Thistle manager, and he's clearly loving life in that part of the world.
Okay, John Witherspoon sent this one. It's not a goal, but it's in the spirit of a decision that favoured his team that he's admitting, and he sent video footage as well, which is even better. Friend of the show Charlie Mulgrew sent off Kyle Lafferty, headbutt, the headbutt that never was. Remember that? So John's obviously a Rangers fan, and he's saying, right, okay, I'll admit it. I'll admit that
because Walter Smith apologised that night on behalf of the club because of what Kyle Lafferty did. So Walter, an honest man.
Producer Dan can get in the bin with this one. He says that Lee Griffith's second free kick against England is not a foul. I did say earlier I wasn't going to get pedantic, but now I will, because VR wouldn't rule that out. Dan, there you go. The free kick would still stand, so don't dare try and take it away from us. But keep them coming on Twitter at Clyde SSB. Which goal from your team's history would you admit would now have been ruled out by VAR? Let's see what else we can come up with. Peterhead 2, Stranraer 1, Scott Ross with the goal there. In our Premiership featured matches, Motherwell 0, Hearts 1, Dundee 1, St Mirren 0. So Bakayoko scoring for Tony Docherty's side, Lawrence Shankland scoring from close range for Hearts, and still nothing between Hibs Kilmarnock and St Johnstone against Ross County. Or is that perhaps not the case?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Hibs have taken the lead. Josh Campbell with the goal. We know Kilmarnock don't travel well. We know Nick Montgomery's side have scored plenty of goals in his time, but it's usually the picture when the final whistle goes that you need to keep an eye on. So we'll see early suggestions under his tenure that things can change quickly, and they often do. But for now, Hibs lead by a goal to nil.
Scored a good goal in midweek, Josh Campbell, I've got to say.
Were you there?
I love a Hibs and St Mirren game.
Were you there? What were you wearing?
9 goals. I had a beautiful lovely suit on with a nice
Armani
shirt tie
jacket and
with a nice Hugo Boss overcoat, as they call it in these parts of the world. Looking dab I was. But going back to Josh Campbell, I was very impressed with him. Scored a good goal, and obviously adding that this afternoon.
Hibs, of course, under Nick Montgomery, also famous for not being able to hold on to a lead.
Well, his first game was against Kilmarnock, wasn't it?
It's only won 2 out of 10. But I wonder at all those games how many times have taken the lead, because no problem scoring goals with the system he plays, but just so open at the back, and 2 central defenders who can't defend.
Right now, stick me a pair of coppers on, I'll score against Hibs. They're poor.
Steady.
They're honestly, Mark, they're poor. You take the throw in, open the gate, into the car park, long run, boom.
Yeah, well, they were 2-0 up against Kilmarnock at Rugby Park and drew 2-2 in the end, so we'll see if this one's got similar twists.
Were they 2 up against St Mirren?
No, it was 1-1, 2-1, 2 each.
Ross County was the other one, on Halloween.
Oh, they'll lose goals. They always look like a team that.
But maybe this is the day. Maybe this is the day the back door gets closed.
My ball Armstrong will unlock that defence.
We will see. Where are we? You've got a couple of minutes on the teaser, so I won't even go through wrong answers. Just very quickly, one more on the question, Hugh.
Excluding Ange Postecoglou, 6 men who have managed in Scotland have won the English Premier League Manager of the Month award since 2009. Name them.
Come on, quickly, you've got a couple of minutes left. You have got a couple of minutes left. I'll quickly do some more wrong ones, actually. Bailey says Mikel Arteta, but he's never managed here.
No.
He also says Robbie Nielsen.
Robbie Nielsen.
Never managed in the Premier League.
I'll tell you what, though. I like his move.
Landed on his feet.
Tampa, Florida, of all places.
Brilliant, eh? What a way of life. Be at that Disneyland every second weekend, wouldn't you?
Not caring a jot what happened the day before.
Oh, because nobody else would as well. The fans wouldn't even care. They're all loving life down there.
Nice place to be.
Yeah, you could get hammered every week in the sunshine. All the fans be happy.
Oh yeah,
Universal Studios and
they talk about the Rovers.
The phone's getting fired up as we speak, isn't it? From the Fir Park bench, Halliday, Gaffer, sign me in January, please, Gaffer.
I bet she's kept in touch with him
Sign
through
me
this
in
just
January,
time.
Gaffer.
No, he wouldn't give up his Monday nights on Super Scoreboard.
I think he might.
Coming live from Florida.
I love
patching him in.
I love Clydebank dearly, but I don't know. I don't think it's as close.
Via Zoom now. Get him on.
Thing. Hamilton Accies 2, Stirling Albion 0, Ewan Henderson on 38 minutes, Queen's Park 0, Wraith Rovers 1. You have to say, Dundee United absolute favourites to win that league, and they probably will. But credit to your old club for hanging on in there.
They're having a great season. I've got to say they are having a great season, playing really attractive football. Desperate to go up and see a game, but
Falkirk have equalised, against Edinburgh City.
Unfortunately, I've got to be in here to entertain the public.
Plenty of midweek games I'm sure you could get up there.
I think they're playing next Friday, maybe.
Are we dishing out a transatlantic yellow card to Robbie Nielsen for calling it soccer in his
the first one, was it?
Soccer club, I think.
No, you've got to do that.
You've got to get on
blend in with the locals.
I'm not sure.
I would love to see you out there managing a club like that. You'd be the opposite of Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
The Scottish version going to America.
Like refusing to speak slower, refusing to, just calling things by his own. And then when people say,
get the ball in the box,
keep the ball.
When people say what, and then he just repeats it again. Over and over.
That'd be you.
At the same speed, in the same tone. I can exactly imagine that.
Get in boot them. Oh, brilliant.
Right, let's round off the teaser, Hugh.
Come on, Hugh.
We're missing two.
The first half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Excluding Ange Postecoglou, 6 men who have managed in Scotland have won the English Premier League Manager of the Month award since 2009. They are Brendan Rodgers, Sir Alex Ferguson, Owen Coyle, Stevie Clark, Alex McLeish and Martin O'Neill.
Well done if you got it right, and lots of you did, and even the ones that couldn't get them all, some brilliant attempts at it. So well done to Jamie, who was in third place. Graham Nielsen was a bit quicker, but none of you as fast as Derek FM, who steamed in with all the correct answers. Well done to you. You are the winner of the first half teaser. Go on then, you two.
We couldn't get to Sir Alex Ferguson, Steve Clark.
The brain power between us.
Arguably the greatest manager this country's ever produced, and the current Scotland manager. Brilliant.
I'm not sure there is any argument about that. He is the greatest Scottish manager.
Oh, I know, but it's just covering any possibilities.
That's poor.
That's very bad.
We could have nailed that as well. We had the rest. We're unlucky. Come on. Always the second half.
Yeah, well, you are. I was going to say you're very good at the second half teaser, but I'm on to you now.
Have you found out
I'm
how
taking
he's doing
steps to make sure that you're not cheating at it.
Oh, I like it, Gordon. Are you going to change the question just before it gate?
It was last week when you suddenly turned into an expert on the lesser known bits of Chris Burke's career.
I know Chris Burke's career inside out.
Who'd they play for again?
He played with Cardiff, Kilmarnock, Rangers, Rotherham. Ross County, did he go to Ross County? Am I right now?
It goals again for Scotland. Who did he score against?
5-1 Bulgaria, was it?
When was that? Why did Scotland play Bulgaria?
That cup, I can't remember the name of the cup.
Yeah.
He scored a brace.
We'll
Boys, come on, what is it all about here?
We'll see how you
There's
go.
no credit to given to the Dazzler. Right, I'll tell you what, I'll play one more time. If I get this, will you apologise to me?
No, never.
Never? Right, okay. I need to get this.
You have a system. You've got the system.
I don't
Stick to the
know what it is.
jigsaw
It's a
system.
It's a jigsaw system.
Roger Hanna thinks that you've got an inside man in here. That's his theory. He told me this on Monday, and I'm just going to out him.
I did notice that his relationship with Chris has got better over the weeks. Remember, he used to slaughter Chris all the time, and now the two of them are pally. I think Chris, to stop getting slaughtered from you on air, has slipped you.
Do you
the answer.
honestly think Chris would give me the answer, knowing Chris?
Well, it just seems like the relationship's improved.
Chris isn't even here today. Who's here? Dan and Michael. Right, okay.
Chris has still got control from home.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Chris is up texting me every 2 minutes. There you go, Dazzler.
Right, we're waiting on the half-time whistles in the top flight because they're going down the leagues. Partick Thistle 1, Morton 1. Your current employers, Mark Wilson.
Yep.
You happy with that? You know, the spokesman on here for Partick Thistle.
I don't know. I think they'd be disappointed. You know, Morton struggling this season, but disappointed if you concede a penalty, I'm sure. But I think Partick will go and win that one, second half.
Penalty to Dundee. Chance to go 2 up and go on. Get your cliche book out about it being a brilliant time to score. It was a handball after a corner. I know there are loads of issues that people get frustrated with when it comes to VAR, but clearly it's led to a massive increase in handballs in the penalty box. The ref says it comes off a defender's arm. Looks like it'll be penalty Dundee. The Palmerston Pep is up against managerless Alloa. Alloa 0, Queen of the South 0 at the break. Marvin Bartley. Who's in charge of Alloa now? That Brian Rice is...
I'll probably be the assistant. Who was Brian's assistant? You'll know that, Mark.
No, I don't.
David Witherspoon scored again. Told you it looked like a good signing.
2-0.
Inverness 2, Ayr United 0. They
Ayr
don't travel to Inverness
No.
You've told us before.
I just used to look at that fixture.
Is that where you got the police escort?
Yeah. That was brilliant out in Inverness. I had a lovely weekend until the Saturday night at 4:45 when the officer Campbell chapped my door and said, "Look, we've got 4 police officers willing to escort you to the team bus, Mr. Dale."
Zach Rudden is going to take the penalty. What a chance this would be. What a chance it is for Dundee to go 2 up. He steps up from 12 yards. Does Zach Rudden? Has he made any mistake from the spot?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Absolutely not. Keeper goes the wrong way, and Dundee leads St Mirren by 2-0. Half time at Fir Park. Gabriel.
Yes, half time here. It is Motherwell 0, Hearts 1. Lawrence Shankland's strike giving his side the lead at the interval could prove to be a huge 3 points to the Jambos and another hammer blow to Stuart Kettlewell and his side. Well, it was an even start, both sides making forays forward. Alex Lowry bent the ball past the post from 25 yards out. A great effort early on. Then Theo Bair had a free header at the other end from Motherwell. It was from a corner. He put it wide and should have done much better. But then Hearts started to get a grip on the game. There was a huge chance for Liam Boyce. A poor play out from the back by Dan Casey. The ball popped to Lowry, who slipped in Boyce, but he took far too long to take his shot, dragged it wide with his weak foot. The decisive moment came in the 27th minute. A deep corner from Lowry was met by Frankie Kent at the far post, nodded it back across goal, and it was turned in by the skipper. A proper forwards finish on the turn inside the post. Hearts then thought they might have the chance to double their lead from the penalty spot when referee Dave Monroe went over to the monitor to check a challenge on Liam Boyce. Now the Northern Irishman felt he was smacked in the face by the boot of Dan Casey, who was rolling about holding his face. But the official stuck with his initial decision, and it seemed like the right one, and it was refreshing to see him standing by his on-field call, something you don't see too often. There's no big chances for the hosts, though. They are still in this, but Motherwell have to offer so much more going forwards. The crowd are restless here. They do not want to see the winless streak extended to 9 games. Half-time at Fir Park. Easy for me to say. Motherwell 0, Hearts 1.
It's also half-time at McDermott Park. Roger Hanna.
Yeah, and unfortunately it's not been a classic first 45 minutes. St Johnstone 0, Ross County 0, goal-mouth chances at a premium. County had early penalty claims waved away by referee Nick Walsh when they thought the ball had struck Dan Phillips on the hand in the box. At the other end, Graham Carey was first to threaten, his shot blocked from an angle on the left-hand side of the box. Carey again showing a bit of attacking intent. Phillips breaking down the right, crossfield pass to Carey, get into the box, but shot across the face of goal and beyond Ross Laidlaw's far post. Luke Robinson and Victor Laturi, they were booked for an off-the-ball squabble 6 minutes before the interval. And Scott Allardyce came forward for County, his shot blocked bravely by Ryan McGowan, who needed treatment after being felled by the shot. Allardyce again threatening moments later. His next effort though held easily under the bar by Dimitar Mitov. That's been it so far, Gordon. It can only get better in the second half. At the break at McDermott Park, St Johnstone 0, Ross County 0.
What about Easter Road, David Friel?
Half time, Hibs 1, Kelly 0. Josh Campbell at it again. He scored against St Mirren in midweek and he has put Hibs ahead at the break. I think Kelly will probably be kicking themselves. They've been well in this game, but Martin Boyle has been causing them problems all afternoon. He's been so lively. He set up Josh Campbell for that opener. Nick Montgomery's side, they've been okay, a bit of a mixed bag. They're trying to play it from the back all the time. It's not always working. In fact, they're playing themselves into trouble quite a lot, so Kelly will get chances in the second half. But Martin Boyle, he's been a standout, so sharp. The goal ruled out for offside and then should have scored only for Stuart Finlay to make a really good recovery tackle. Kelly were lively for the first 25 minutes, mostly. Some chances, Liam Donnelly probably the best of them. He brought down a corner, lovely touch, and then lashed the ball over the bar from about 8 yards. Hibs started to click from the half hour mark daily. Martin Boyle everywhere. He created Campbell's opener in 37 minutes. He found space in the halfway line, stormed forward, thought he was going to shoot, and then he just slipped a pass to the midfielder and he supplied a low finish behind Will Dennis. Hibs should have made it 2-0 before the break. Dylan Venti's been pretty quiet but sprung to life. He headed straight at Will Dennis and then he dragged a shot wide from 18 yards. So Hibs will be happy. They are on top, but they have thrown leads away recently and Kelly are definitely still in this. Half time, Hibs 1, Kelly 0.
Half time at Dens Park, or the Scott Foam Stadium as it's now known, Dave Galloway.
Yeah, half time here at Dens Park. It's Dundee 2, St Mirren 0. Dundee almost made a perfect start. Zach Rudden with a great run down the right hand side. He cut inside, then crashed his drive off the post. The early pressure paid off after 16 minutes when they took a thoroughly deserved lead. St Mirren couldn't clear properly from a corner kick, and Amadou Bakayoko pounced about 12 yards out to thump the ball home. Saints were enjoying a good share of possession but creating very little of note. Colin McMenamin had a go from the edge of the box but dragged his drive tamely wide. The home team looking very comfortable, and they carved out another opening when Lyle Cameron set up Luke McCowan, who shot straight at Zach Hemming. The visitors spurned a pretty decent opening when Kanu Bacchus, he was well positioned. He had a fresh air swipe at the ball when the cross came in from the left hand side, and then in added time it was 2-0 to the D's. A corner came in, the ball came off a Saints defender's hand, and Zach Rudden, cool, calm and clinical spot kick, he sent Zach Hemming the wrong way. So at the interval, deserved advantage for the home side. It's Dundee 2, St Mirren 0.
Taking your calls on Scottish football. 0141 951 1025. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half-time scores in the Scottish Premiership: Dundee 2, St Mirren 0, Hibs 1, Kilmarnock 0, Motherwell 0, Hearts 1, and St Johnstone 0, Ross County 0. In the Championship, Airdrie 1, Arbroath 0, Inverness 3, Ayr United 0, Partick Thistle 1, Morton 1, and Queen's Park 0, Raith Rovers 1. In League 1, Alloa 0, Queen of the South 0, Falkirk 1, Edinburgh City 1, Hamilton Accies 2, Stirling Albion 0, Kelty Hearts 0, Cove Rangers 1, Montrose 0, Annan Athletic 1. In League 2, East Fife 0, Dumbarton 1, Elgin 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Forfar 0, Clyde 0, Peterhead 2, Stranraer 1, and Stenhousemuir 0, the Spartans 1. The English Premier League to finish then, a full-time result: Wolves 2, Spurs 1. At the break, Arsenal 1, Burnley 0, Palace 1, Everton 1, Man United 0, Luton 0. And that is your lot in terms of half-time scores. We'll get the second half started next.
This is the story of that day you cleared out the garage. Classics with the best MC in the galaxy. Or the story of that workout when you lifted a weight off and harnessed the power of your emotions. Or the story of that long-haul flight sat on the plains of the Namibian desert, soothed by the returning rains. From the Corrupt FM podcast to Darren Brown's Boot Camp for Emotion and Sleep Sound with Maya Jama. For the story you need right now, listen on Audible. Subscription required. See audible.co.uk for terms. This is the story of that quiet night in with Daisy May Cooper literally judging books by their covers. Or the story of that lazy morning lying to the FBI about who you really work for. Or the story of that walk home after some beers followed by spirits hell-bent on their dreadful revenge. From Educating Daisy to Mother, Neighbour, Russian Spy and Ghost Stories, Stephen Fry's definitive collection. For the story you need right now, listen on Audible. Subscription required. See audible.co.uk for terms.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers. Choose from over 6,000 vehicles, new or used, small or grand. Number 1 for football in Glasgow and the West. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Second half's about to get underway. Not yet, I suspect. Gabriel, how would you describe the feelings at half-time at Fir Park? Any changes been made as well?
Yeah, not good, Gordon. A few little cheers as the teams were going off. It's got to be so much better from Motherwell in the second half. They have made one change. Spencer is on at left wing back. He's going to push. Who's that coming inside? Yeah, it's going to be Blair Spittle inside with Spencer left wing back. Just going to try and see who's come off. Looks like it's Theo Bair that's come off, Gordon. So it's going to be a 3-5-2 formation with Spittle inside in midfield. And that's us underway here at Fir Park for the second half.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. Get your prescription delivered straight to your door free of charge.
Yes, that is a big second 45 coming up, particularly for Stuart Kettlewell, Mark Wilson, because he's the one that's trailing.
And at home, so the jeers tell a story what the Motherwell fans think, and although he did a great job last year, the fans want results at the minute. He badly needs a top 45 minutes now. His team showed it against Ross County a couple of weeks ago that they have the ability to scrape their way back into the game, and against St John's he needs it this afternoon against a Hearts team who are also desperate, so makes them a very dangerous opponent. It's going to be a tough 45.
Yeah, what he's recognised is the experiment with the three forwards. Tried it last week, tried it first half today, not working. Went back to that 3-5-2, gives them a bit more, as a solid unit. So look, they've got the ability to come back. They've showed that. They've showed the character. Big ass today, but I think they can still do it and come back and get a draw.
Yeah, but the darker side of the story is if he fails to do it, and it's 2 points from possible 24, and your next game is Celtic away, you really need a show of loyalty from the people who employ you, or else you fear the international break is the signal for a sacking.
Result of the day in the making, you have to say, is at Dens Park. Dundee 2, St Mirren 0 as we start the second half.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Docherty, no one knew if he'd be able to do it on his own. He spent so long working as number 2 to Derek McInnes, but it's moving along very nicely, and he's with a shout of moving even further up the table. So for St Mirren, all of a sudden, as I said at the start of the programme, the results have ceased to come their way.
I think with Dundee as well, particularly with teams who come up into the division, they struggle to score goals, but Dundee, that's them up to 12 goals in 12 games, so they give themselves a chance all the time. They're in games and got themselves in front there, but I wouldn't write off St Mirren just yet. A good season.
I don't think St Mirren's in great form, I've got to say. They've had a brilliant start to the season. I wasn't that impressed with them on Wednesday night, but they fought back and got that 2-2 draw. Dundee had the assistant manager down there run the eye over them, and he's obviously learnt a lot of things in that game, because that's a positive result so far.
Right, let's get the second half teaser up and running. Hugh Keevins, if you're ready.
I am.
And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
This is the story of that quiet night in with Daisy May Cooper literally judging books by their covers. Or the story of that lazy morning lying to the FBI about who you really work for. Or the story of that walk home after some beers followed by spirits hell-bent on their dreadful revenge. From Educating Daisy to Mother, Neighbour, Russian Spy and Ghost Stories, Stephen Fry's definitive collection. For the story you need right now, listen on Audible. Subscription required. See audible.co.uk for terms.
Make me a winner.
Make me a winner.
Your chance to win life-changing amounts of cash every weekday until Christmas. Enter at winhappy.me/wincash.
It'll just be home improvement, a lovely Christmas. I've got two boys. It's quite life-changing for us, really.
Terms and conditions apply. UK residents over 18 only. Competition ends 22nd of December 2023.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
Enter for your chance to win life-changing cash every weekday at winhappy.me/wincash.
The second half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Gus Poyet and Paolo Di Canio. I have been managed by David Moyes and Alan Pardew. I scored on my professional debut, and I have scored for every club I have ever played for. Who am I? I've played alongside Gus Poyet and Paolo Di Canio. I have been managed by David Moyes and Alan Pardew. I scored on my professional debut, and I have scored for every club I have ever played for. Who am I?
The race is on. Go. Gordon Dalziel somehow wins this every week, so let's see if you can beat him to it. It's at Clyde SSB. Let's get your answers in as quick as you can. Piece it all together. If you want to see it written down, you'll find it over there at Clyde SSB. What's your early thoughts, Mark Wilson? Let's see.
I went.
What is he? No.
Oh.
This is superb.
No.
This is excellent. That is the best one you could have gone for.
How'd you come up with that? Is that right?
It's wrong.
No, because she put it there. I was sitting there.
We laid a trap for you.
I seen it sitting there.
And you've fallen for it.
He fell for it. He's got a big beamer.
Just to paint the picture for you, we have been suspicious about Gordon Dalziel's success rate on the second half teaser. So what we decided to do this week was leave a question sheet lying around with an incorrect answer on it, and he has gone for the incorrect answer.
See, before we get any further, ask this man standing next to me. I told him, look, and I showed him, did I?
No.
And that's why I put that down there.
It is not John Hartson.
There you go.
There we go.
It was a good trap. You left it sitting there.
Well, you fell for it.
You try to show it like you just came up with that.
I was going to admit to that if it was right.
I'm not so sure.
Stephen Robinson's not happy with what he's witnessed in the first half.
Right, I'll go for another one.
4 half-time subs.
Oh dear, that's an angry man.
Kilty, McMenamin, Mandron, Taylor, Olof, Grieve, Jameson, Olisanya and Dunn on.
Statement there. I don't even think he would have to give a team talk. Just go in and name your subs, and that tells the full story of what you think of the first half performance.
What was the score at half time last night in the Thistle 18s game?
0-0.
Oh, it was goal. So was it your changes that caused the damage?
I didn't change anything. Just
no.
I can't believe he's got
it.
What, he's got the teaser? That doesn't mean anything. They've exposed him as a cheat and a fraud.
There you go.
It just means that your inside man in here has told you the right answer.
Well, would I win with Hartson if that was the case? Don't be silly.
They've since been in touch to tell you that you got it wrong.
He knows his stuff, the Dazzler. He knows.
You're inside man.
Have I touched that phone?
Look at that face. That face looks believable. Like butter wouldn't melt. Look, he wouldn't lie.
Do you know what
like that?
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm not playing this game again.
Good.
Because do you know what? You are so jealous. You tried to set me a trap. I played along with yous. I come out with the right answer once again.
I'm giving you all the credit.
Look, they're a jigsaw.
I've got the answer. I don't. Why would we be jealous? You and I know the answer.
Gordon's jealous.
Mad, isn't he?
I'm jealous.
Nicky Clark
so clever.
has hit the bar for St Johnstone. Remember, we're still waiting on the breakthrough in that one.
Geography teacher still trying to find his way to a win.
Don't forget, not only are we looking for your answers to the teaser, we had an interesting discussion going in the first half. So much said about VAR, and it is so easy to mump and moan about the decisions that go against you. So we thought we'd spin it a little bit, and we're looking for your honesty. Is there a famous goal scored by your team? You celebrated it, you loved it, but now you would admit that VAR would probably rule it out. There's lots of great ones coming in. A very common one, lots of Celtic fans admitting that Chris Julian's goal against Rangers would probably have been ruled out for offside. Billy, I'm not sure I can get on board with this. He says Stevie Kirk's winner in the 91 Cup final would be ruled out for a foul on United's keeper. I'm not unwilling to go that far. This is like taking Gordon Dalziel's famous goal away from him, which we think might have been offside.
Oh, you're willing to do that, but you're not taking Kirky's. Can you remember that, Hugh? The ball over at the back post?
Let's see, what else have we got? Again, Danny here is lucky that the semantics would get him out of it, because we know that VAR wouldn't rule out an incorrectly given free kick. But Danny says that Nakamura's free kick against Man United, the foul by Vidic on Jarosik, was an awful decision.
Nonsense.
Couldn't even remember, I must admit.
Speaking of VAR, a clip popped up today of Man United. Did you see it on Twitter when they surrounded the ref? I mean, and to highlight how bad it was and how times have changed, it was outrageous when Man United conceded a penalty at home, and the famous video that always comes about a Roy Keane, Yapstam, Beckham, practically, bullying the referee. It was horrendous. So we moan about referees now, but I think we've got to a slightly better place on the pitch than we were then.
Motherwell looking much better with their new shape, but still trailing. A class above. I'll need to look some of these up because I can't remember them all. Dado Perso against Porto, he says, a challenge on the goalkeeper. I take your word for it. Oh no, hold on though, because Blue Bear says it's Kyriakos against Porto for a foul on the keeper. Is it the same goal or is it two different incidents? Someone can enlighten me as we go. A few people are throwing in Thierry Henry versus Republic of Ireland.
He only had those about 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, but that has to mean that you're a France fan to have that level. We're not just talking about bad decisions, we're talking about your team when you've benefited from a terrible decision. So keep them coming in at Clyde SSB. You'll find the thread over there. Some really good ones coming in, I must admit. I'm enjoying your honesty. We don't get it too often here. We prefer to be very tribal about these things, which is absolutely fine. But on this occasion we're doing something a bit different. No goals yet to tell you about in our featured games. Just the 4 subs though for Ross County, for St Mirren, at the break. Motherwell have made a change personnel, and it's changed the shape, looking a bit better, but still behind. Joe Newell's claiming for a penalty. Corner given though. Both are getting treatment. Joe Newell and Brad Lyons are coming together there. They've both gone down. Bit of treatment. Doesn't look like the penalty will be given, as Joe Newell would like.
It is an astonishing admission by Stephen Robinson when you make a quartet of subs. So be interesting to hear his post-match press conference.
Still a bit to go, Hugh. If they can get the next goal, which is all important. As I said, I wasn't, as much as you can't take it away from them, I wasn't that impressed with them the other night though.
You in the hospitality the other night?
I was in the
Hold on a minute.
concession.
If he's gone to a game in a shirt and tie and is not in hospitality, I'll never speak to him again.
I was not in
this.
hospitality.
No, right. Mic off. That's us. But seriously, you just sat in amongst the public,
mooching about with that.
No lounge access or anything whatsoever.
I was in the director's box.
Aye, well that's fine. That's what I mean.
So you're in the boardroom?
Yes.
Right.
Well, it's not hospitality, is it?
What I mean is,
did the board members have suits on, or we guy in there with a suit?
Well, I've managed against St Mirren a lot of times. We had good chats. Managed against St Mirren.
Did you see Keith Lasley?
Yes.
Was he wearing a suit?
Yes.
Nah,
he was.
He'd go for a sort of.
In fact, he complimented my jacket and my tie.
Ironically.
He went,
You're
looking very sharp tonight, Dazzler. You getting out after us?
Being sarcastic.
You getting out after us somewhere?
Getting out after us.
Yeah, on the doors. I'm working the doors.
I'm working to tune the Corinthian.
But that must have been the way you used to go out as well. And you'd after the games with a suit and a shirt and tie on.
Of course you did, yeah.
Of course.
Everybody did.
Imagine going down the
Hugh
pub.
Keevins still comes to his work like that.
I can believe it for your time,
Mark.
but I mean the 90s, can it?
Hold on, we used to have to wear a shirt and tie to training.
That's
and
right.
a suit every morning
and
to
be,
training.
And be clean shaven.
Clean shaven as well. You weren't allowed in the building.
I don't know about that.
It was.
Yuan for Venti. Venti's been poor, according to our man on the ground, David Friel. So Hibs have made the change there, looking to try and add to their lead. 1-0 up, remember. Josh Campbell with the goal. Motherwell 0, Hearts 1. Lawrence Shanklin's relatively early goal. St Johnstone 0, Ross County 0. And the big result in the making is Dundee 2, St Mirren 0.
They won't come back, St Mirren.
No, done. This is the Hugh Keevins kiss of death.
That's done and dusted, that.
You may well be right.
More likely to go 3 now.
How will the natives at Old Trafford be feeling about approaching the hour mark, unable to break down Luton at home?
Well,
it's all tourists there now. They don't care.
The international break is the time, as I said earlier on, where managers get sacked.
Sure, I'm not going to sack him.
What? After the Copenhagen midweek,
I know,
and now this?
I know, but you hear Fergie's coming out and giving them his support, and they're just going through managers.
Manchester United, in my
who's
youth,
left? Wilson.
Hold on, we've got one of these.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
The 4 subs has not worked. Dundee have scored again, 3-0 up against St Mirren. It's on the break. Zach Rudden's shot parried. It ends up in the back of the net. Bakayoko scoring on the rebound, his second of the afternoon. And Dundee are cruising at home to St Mirren.
Fair play, I did say no, they'll not come back. It's more likely to go 3-0.
You did,
and
credit to you.
And this must be a shocker of a day for Stephen Robinson. His post-match press conference will be required listening. I hope Dave Galloway's got a shield over the microphone.
Well done to Dundee. You know, when you're in this league and you're a club like Dundee, home form is so important. And Tony Dock would have looked at all the fixtures. I'm sure he would have picked some that he would have looked to have won and maybe just taken one narrowly. I don't think he would have taken St Mirren to come up to Dens and then, you know, be runaway winners. So it's a fantastic afternoon for him. For St Mirren, it's an absolute write-off of a day, and a week of Daz's analysis is anything to go by. From midweek they weren't great, followed up with a really poor one today.
The Ackies are going well, also 3-0 up against Stirling Albion. Kevin O'Hara with the goal, his second as well. It might be though that Stephen Robinson takes a more understanding approach. Remember, there was a sickness bug at St Mirren this week. They had to have a deep clean of the training ground. Mark O'Hara missed out today. It might just be one of those days where he takes that one on the chin. Man United have scored, incidentally, just since we were talking about it.
Job safe.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sucker punch. Obviously Dundee were looking to get back into it. They were in and around the Dundee box, and a good break from Tony Docherty's side means it is 3-0. What a result in the making that is.
And that takes Dundee possibly over Kilmarnock in the league table, and not far off St Mirren, 2 points off St Mirren. So for Tony Dock, that's an outstanding afternoon.
Let's check in on Twitter again. We're looking for the goals that your team scored that you would now admit would have been ruled out by VAR. I remember this, I was working at this game. Barry says And here's a name from the past, Bilal Mojni. Remember him?
Yeah.
His goal against Albion Rovers in the Scottish Cup, he took the goalkeeper over the line. I think I remember that. And Albion Rovers were scrapping away in that one as well. So there you go, maybe a sliding doors moment there. That's not a bad one at all. I like a lot of shouts from Maradona's handball. Don't mind that at all. And only one or two who's spectacularly missing the point of the discussion. That's good. That's actually not bad. I think that's better than I expected. What are we doing here still? Nothing else in the Scottish leagues. Well, certainly not the top flight. Elgin 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, if you're interested. Very similar chance, Lawrence Shanklin, to the goal that he scored. Set piece, headed down by Kent. This one, though, he mishits it and it doesn't find the back of the net. So similar chance, very different outcome.
How's Bartley going? Is he
goalless break it was.
He'll take that.
Yeah. Classic.
Will he? Needs to start getting wins, doesn't he?
Against a team with no manager. Yeah.
Is that at Alloa?
Yes.
Yeah.
Still going to need wins at some point, surely.
Where is he in the league?
Oh, you don't want to look at that.
No.
Tight though, isn't it?
Yeah. Listen, Cully wins.
Do you think he's getting pressure from anywhere other than here in a Saturday? I mean, who needs enemies when you've got pals like us, eh?
We're inspiring them.
Probably nobody's caring, nobody's batting an eyelid until we bring them up.
We're flagging it.
He's going fine. He'll be alright.
But it's not alright for Motherwell. They're still trailing, and I think that's the one that you're focusing on now. I get the feeling that Hibs will get their win. Hearts, I think, will get their win. St Johnstone, Ross County, it looks as if it's boring Roger Hannah to death. That could easily finish goalless. And Dundee are home and hosed.
I was never going to be the one you look at the fixtures and think, I'm looking forward to my day out.
St Johnstone?
Up that M9.
One for the purist.
Oh my. St Johnstone.
Oh dear.
Aloha. Give them the kiss of death. Alloa 1, Queen of the South 0. Penalty potentially to Hearts. They're checking again. Motherwell got away with one earlier when the ref stuck by his decision. So it'd be quite something if this was another example of that potential foul. This would be to give Hearts the chance to go 2 up. And my goodness, Lawrence Shanklin's penalty record is outstanding. Even last week, as good as Jack Butland is, you just sort of knew Shanklin was going to stick that one away, albeit it didn't count for much in the end. Still waiting there on that one then. This could be a massive moment in the game, because although Motherwell have done it in the last couple of games, you don't want to have to come back from 2 goals down 3 times in a week. That's an ask, isn't it? Just by law of averages.
I get the obvious Van Veen isn't there for Motherwell, but is Stuart Kettlewell playing a totally different way?
No, well, listen, it's not
last
just
season?
that, because they've started absolutely shipping goals.
Shipping goals
at the other end. It's not like, if it's 0-0 and then you can't score because Van Veen's not there, but you look at the volume of goals.
Well, you highlighted it 20, it could be 21 a minute.
21
That's is that the most in the Premier League, Mark?
It will be, I think.
Yeah, that would be
on no penalty.
So they're still level.
So
lifeline for Motherwell,
and on we go.
They need to get something here, because you can't get an international break and then obviously go to Celtic Park. So you need to get something at home this afternoon. Even a point would do for me.
Oh yeah.
Certainly would take it now, you would imagine. Stenhousemuir have levelled against Spartans. Matthew Aitken with the goal. Let's revisit your teaser, please, Hugh.
Yeah. I have played alongside Gus Poyet and Paolo Di Canio. I have been managed by David Moyes and Alan Pardew. I scored on my professional debut, and I have scored for every club I have ever played for. Who am I?
Okay. Kyogo thinks it's James Beattie.
No.
Ped thinks it's Pierre Van Hooijdonk.
No.
Okay, keep your guesses coming in at Clyde SSB. Ayr United have pulled one back, a Jamie Murphy penalty. He's on a good goal scoring run at the moment. Got a double, didn't he, against your team?
He did.
Thistle, Mark.
Watched him for the full game, touched the ball twice, 2 goals.
Sounds very bitter from you, that.
Well,
You're now turning up at Partick Thistle first team games as well, to show your support.
Got to see what the first team's doing to. No. Got to see what they're doing to relate it to the.
Oh, is that right? Do you play the same style
Dylan must
as
go.
the first team? Do you try and replicate it?
I didn't in the first couple of games, but I think it is important actually. Maybe that the young lads get an idea of what they're doing above them.
Would you ever hope to get back into first team management? Is that your goal to move?
Not at the minute. Not at the minute.
No, obviously not at the minute because nobody will take you. But if you in the future, if an opportunity comes up,
I don't know.
I know where this is going, don't you?
Where's it going?
Well, near Sid. What I see, we've healed this.
I don't feel like I had enough time to work with Sid. I like the way we were going. Whether you came in handy was at lunchtime.
Let me tell you,
lunchtime when you were in the cafe and you could get his discounts. You came in real handy. By the way, the Ravenscraig must have been buzzing to get rid of you. Just negotiating everything from the suit to the actual lets. How much for a let? I'll give you half that. Okay. He must have hated you.
Throw in some soup for the boys. Throw in 22 soups at lunchtime. On we go.
That was great.
Right, anyway, keep your guesses coming for that second half teaser. It is a good question. It's tough but doable. And again, still asking you for your admission, your goals that you admit that your team scored that would now have been ruled out by VAR. Just a bit of rewriting of history there. Still waiting on any sort of breakthrough between St Johnstone and Ross County. Not entirely sure if we'll get it. Hibs 1, Kilmarnock 0, Motherwell 0, Hearts 1 and Dundee 3, St Mirren 0. St Mirren fans, you might want to type the number into your phone and just get it on speed dial for when the open line appears a bit later on. You can let us know what you made of it.
It is mad, the league. You think St Mirren a few weeks ago against St Johnstone at home, was it 4 that ended? Did it ended Stevie McLean's reign? And then they go to Dundee and they could be on the receiving end of a similar scoreline that puts Dundee right in touch with them. So the league is just, full of inconsistencies this season. It's hard to keep up with sometimes.
It's one of two things. Either the 4 subs were made at half time because there is a medical problem and the club have said that there was an issue during the week, or the manager has been absolutely disgusted by the first half performance and taking 4 players off as a reprisal.
I think it's the first one.
It could be both. It could be half and half.
Half and half, 2 for 2. I think he won't be pleased, but to make 4 substitutions.
Yeah, there was a potential shock in the cards in League One early on, but Ross McKeever has put Falkirk 2-1 up on Edinburgh City, and it's getting a bit feisty in the game at McDermott Park. No goals, but Harmon, White, Carey all booked in quick succession. Hibs are rolling the dice as well to try and either build on or secure their lead. Jago for Levitt. I mean, it's certainly a more defensive minded midfielder going in there, but whether
he came off the other night, I think he was limping, Gordon, so I'm not surprised with that. I think he picked up a slight knock, but they've decided to go with him today. Medical staff gave him the okay, but he's not lasted the 90 minutes, so I'm not surprised with that one.
Big result at the bottom of League 2 there. 4-0 Clyde 1. Connor Young with the goal.
That would take Clyde above 4.
Who's your Clyde manager?
Chris Miller.
Chris Miller is an interim charge since Brian McLean left, and there have obviously been reports linking him with East Kilbride duo Mick Kennedy and Simon Ferry in recent weeks. But Forfar, he could be in a little spot of bother if that one stays that way.
Would that be a strange one, wouldn't it? If I heard that as well about
strange for who?
At least Kilbride are building something and looking up, possibly
bigger than Clyde's.
Bypassing Clyde, who are looking at just a strange move.
You don't know what's going on, I suppose.
Exactly.
Maybe there's been a bit of finance made available, and of course they're not taking it. So wait and see. Montrose have equalised against Annan there in that one. So goals are going in the lower divisions for sure. They've not been spoiled as such in the second half of their Premiership matches. Kelly are looking brighter though. That'll encourage Derek McInnes, and we've got another goal at Fir Park.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
You can never write Motherwell off, but that might be that, because Lawrence Shankland has scored again. He's put through 1-on-1, rounds the goalkeeper, gets his second of the afternoon, and it's now Motherwell 0, Hearts 2.
No way back. Again, you'd see a third Hearts goal before you'd see a first Motherwell goal. So serious times, and if not the cue to change the manager, a pause for reflection to see where the team's going.
Well, it's now official, the most goals conceded in the Premier League so far. We all talk about, replacing Van Veen, but what we have missed is the amount of goals that they've conceded, Gordon, and it's not good enough. And to be fair, look, I'm all for a manager trying different things, and he has. He's went with a more attacking lineup, 3 up top, to see if that could, take the pressure from the back up to the front and score goals. Didn't work. He's went to different formations. It's the personnel, they're just conceding really, really poor goals at this level.
Yeah, and it's just one of those days. Beerett's been taken off for Ollie Shaw, and that decision booed by the Motherwell fans. Wilkinson off for Obika, so the front two changed. Fans not having it, but we do have a big goal at McDermott Park.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy,
and it is for St Johnstone. It's with the left boot of Graham Carey. Robinson and May teed him up. Carey did the rest. It's a great finish, actually, high into the net, and St Johnstone lead Ross County by 1-0.
Well, I applaud Graham Carey. The poor man in his personal life is having a desperate time, and how he can focus on football, I'm not entirely sure, and we wish his wife every success in the world. But well done, Graham Carey.
What a turnaround from St Johnstone in recent weeks. So, ever since Stevie McLean departed, they get the win against Kilmarnock, and then should have probably saw that out against Motherwell midweek and ahead again. So, they're looking up while a couple of clubs round about them are looking down.
Well, it shows you, and I've said it for a long time, there's still room in this game for experienced football managers. He's went in there. He should have probably won midweek. He's got the lead today, but you've got to say, in the last 3 games, if they can keep this result, what was that, 7 out of 9? Takes him off the bottom of the table. David Frail, he'd be sacked in international break.
That's true. He predicted he's sticking by it. Says they're going down, but they're certainly putting up a good fight. Queen's Park have equalised against
Marv.
Wraith. No.
Oh no, Queen's. Oh no.
Go on, Marv.
Come on, Marv, I'll stand by that. Come
Wraith Rovers
on. Toy Story.
Brian Graham sent off for Partick Thistle, second bookable offence.
That's trouble.
Is it still 1-1 there?
1-1. He's a skipper. Yeah.
And the best goal scorer.
He is. I saw a stat the other day.
He
plus
scored
30
goals,
yeah, plus 30-year-old. He's the club's top goal scorer.
I did see that actually. Yeah, saw that as well.
Passes Chris Doolan on the way as well.
Well, he's going to head for the early bath, as the phrase goes, because he's been sent off on the 74th minute. Brian Graham there.
So he passed Chris Doolan again on his way to the bath.
Have we got any sense of suspense here? We do have, I suppose, Ross County will still feel they can get something. Kelly will feel like they can get something, but Motherwell probably a long way. We did say this last week. I suppose you're now looking at it that the fact that it happened last week and midweek means it's less likely in that sort of roundabout way. And St Mirren surely done 3-0 down.
The run that Motherwell are on is creating an atmosphere inside the ground, obviously. And Stuart Kettlewell got his job because the man he replaced was on a run of negativity. And that's the way it works in football. He came in on the back of a man who couldn't buy a win, and now he's stuck in the same position himself.
Yeah, it's not a good run at all, far from it. What we got, Smalls hit the bar there at Dens Park, stretching for Jameson's cross. Big grumbles though from the Hibs fans. I mean, they're winning, but they're not impressed with what they're seeing. Kilmarnock are pressing there.
They'll probably be about 17.5 there today. It's just under the 6 mark. Wednesday night, good travelling support. I've got to say, it's the one positive I've loved about this football lately. The tendencies are great for me.
Who cares?
This guy.
Of course you care. You want to see people coming out and supporting the
You've never mentioned it any other season.
I'm loving it. It's because I think it's been so good this
And
season.
saying that, you've been to a fair few games this season.
Yeah, I'm
You're
getting out there.
yourself out and about there,
I'm
getting your
showing
face
my
seen.
face. Yeah. I think there'll
With
be
a suit on.
another job in the horizon when they see the tie, the shirt, and the new jacket. He's tailor-made for a dugout. They'll be shouting.
Then they look down, they see the big baggy trousers, and they say, "Oh no, actually, that shows how old he
slim
is."
fit now.
Have you
The pointed
tailored them?
shoes, yeah, tailored.
Big,
Down to bubbles. Take them in 6 inches in.
big pointy black dress shoes. That shoe polished within an inch of their life.
For the third game in a row, maybe penalty Motherwell. I don't mean 3 penalties in a row. I mean the fact
comeback.
that this has been happening. Although VAR's checking it, so you never know. It was Shaw's shot from a corner blocked by Cochrane's hand. I need a Hearts fan, because I'm basing this on nothing, just other than my gut instinct. How many big incidents does Alex Cochrane give away?
Yeah.
It feels like he always either gets sent off, gives away a penalty, a crucial free kick. To be fair, on this occasion he's sure it didn't hit his arm, so maybe VAR will. No, penalty has been given. Alex Cochrane strikes again.
Who's your penalty taker?
I'm trying to think of the ones that are still on the bench. Slattery's over it.
Oh, he'll score. I like Slattery.
He missed one, didn't he?
He'll
Did he
score.
not miss one?
He'll score.
Bereth just been taken off. He would have taken it.
Ring the bell. He's scoring all day long.
You sure?
All day long.
Okay.
Cool, calm and collective
I think he's
against
missed
Hearts before.
He steps up.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Smashes it, top corner. Callum Slattery and Motherwell are back in it again. Game on. They might not be very good at staying in games early on, but they have got some bit of character in amongst this terrible run with Hugh Keevins.
And plenty of time. There's the usual 5 or 6, 7 minutes added on.
Oh, so it was. Listen, give Gabriel his jotters. After all that, it was Blair Spittle. It wasn't Callum Slattery at all. That's why he scored.
I told you, Spittle.
He was out last night. You can just tell he does that. So you can see our young whippersnapper reporters there. Like the professionals like Roger Hanna in bed, 9 o'clock.
He's making things up. You know what's that half time where he said somebody was coming inside? He went, it's like Spittle. I thought that's exactly the way you say when you don't know. That's Spittle coming inside.
Man. What? He's now saying it wasn't out last night.
He had a night in the pod.
Anyway, Blair Spittle, who you would back, obviously, now that we know that it's gone in, puts the penalty in the top corner.
What about these 2 Edinburgh managers then?
What about that? Sorry, just quickly, he's now saying he knew that it was Spittle, but he just got the names mixed up.
Yeah, it starts with S.
Come on,
he's got a shippy at Gabs.
You know, if Stephen Naismith does not get all 3 points with a 2-goal start, there'll be rumblings and grumblings, and the Hibs fans are grumbling and they are winning, but they're not happy. So if Kilmarnock were to get an equalising goal, more rumblings and grumblings.
I know it's a proper cliche, right, about it being a dangerous lead and all that nonsense. I'll try and stay away from that, Mark, but I wonder, as a player, when you're 2 up and then the goal goes in with kind of 15 to go, do you
without doubt
the mood sinks,
shifts because you're 2 up, you're controlling the game, everybody's loving it, and you're sometimes thinking ahead tonight's
win bonus,
and then all of a sudden you go, how long's left in that clock, and you start changing sometimes the things that you would do. So it's going to be a testing period for Hearts. Motherwell can just throw everything at it. You're much more relaxed, of course.
The crazy thing about this time last week, this happened, then Ross County scored again, so you thought, that didn't last long, Motherwell are done here, and then they managed to pull it back to 3 each. So we will see. I can't imagine Stephen Naismith will be enjoying it, Hugh, because he'll know that the fans probably wouldn't have been happy with a draw to begin with, but if it's one that comes about after being 2-0 up, that's a whole different scenario.
I go back to Roger Hanna's information that there's an alleged split on the Hearts board over the manager's future. It's not helped, his situation is not helped by dropping anything today, especially, as you said, with a 2-goal start. That would the crowd would erupt.
If I could get Roger Hanna and Andy Halliday to broaden their horizons on a Monday. The top performer of the weekend would maybe be given out in League One, because Kevin O'Hara has a hat-trick for Hamilton Accies as they go 5 up against Stirling Albion, which is a real sore one there for the Beanos. Georgie Gent's come on for Motherwell, replacing Stephen O'Donnell. He's the one that set up the equaliser in midweek up at McDermott Park, so you'll look for a similar impact. And Partick Thistle, we said they'd gone down to 10, Brian Graham sent off, but they're the ones that have gone and scored now. Blair Alston into the back of the net, Thistle back in front, 2-1 at home to Greenock Morton.
Magnificent. What a difference a few days make. Blair Alston playing the reserves, voluntary, chose to play there with some of the young kids on Tuesday afternoon, and then
look at this,
back into the first team and scores.
The level of detail that this show's now going to get on Partick Thistle is unbelievable.
But I love that. I love players, first team players who are experienced and they're out the team.
So it was his decision.
Aye, it was his decision. It was a late call. He wanted to play. He plays, he gets 60, 70 minutes, and then he could be the match winner the day. Shows importance. A good squad member. I've just detracted from him there by calling him a squad member.
I tell you what, it's a sore one for Dougie Emery.
Yeah,
you know, he's sitting bottom of the league, desperate for points.
Not in a brilliant place, are they at all?
No, not at all. And you're thinking, okay, we're level against the Jags at home, they're down to 10 men. You're expecting to score the next goal, not them. So that's a poor one. I'm good result for Hamilton. I'm actually going Hamilton Wraith on Friday night, getting inside to the lower leagues now. I'm starting to.
What a student of the game you are.
You're going to what? Hamilton Wraith?
Wraith, yeah.
And the Cup?
Yeah, quarter final.
I'm away at Dundee on Friday.
Away win. No, home win, sorry.
You're a bit like Stevie Robinson up there.
On Twitter,
4 subs.
On Twitter, on the subject of goals that your team would have had ruled out by VAR over the years, if you can be honest about it. Where was the one I liked there? I've just lost it, for goodness sake. Kevin McHugh says Mark Wilson against Rangers would have been ruled out because it would have found that you should never have been that far up the pitch. It's just fair.
Yeah.
I can't really argue with that, can we?
That's the way we were asked to play from Neil at the time, me and Emilio.
David Marshall has got the one that I reluctantly admitted earlier. He says Craig Reid, Motherwell Aberdeen, last minute, last game of the season, foul on the goalkeeper.
Can you imagine that night when you scored? I mean, that night was mad, with a capital M, mad.
That the Lennon McCoy's one?
Yeah. Now can you imagine if VAR had been on?
I'd still be playing it just now.
To throw it into the mix.
I mean, in that game, I'm sure Stephen Whittaker gets sent off early, or was it in the first half? Pretty sure one of the bookings might have been harsh.
VAR doesn't look at bookings, remember.
Well, there you are, Stephen, have that.
Anyway. Benny says that Hartson's away to Barcelona was miles offside. I must admit, I can just about picture the goal, but not with the same detail there.
That finished 1-1 that game.
So does that make it all the sweeter for Benny, or does he want the game replayed?
Oh, I'm thinking all the sweeter, surely, because this is about just admitting your own team, for sure. Keep them coming if you so wish. What about the full-time teaser on there, Hugh?
Yeah, I have played alongside Gus Poyet and Paolo Di Canio. I have been managed by David Moyes and Alan Pardew. I scored on my professional debut, and I have scored for every club I have ever played for. Who am I?
Kyle and Logan both think it's Alan Stubbs.
Stubbsy, nope.
Geddy, is that how we're saying
I
that?
must be looking for a goal scorer.
Thinks it's Frank McAvenny.
There's a goal scorer.
Right there, but it's not Macca.
Craig would like to suggest Mark Noble.
Don't bother.
Okay, keep your guesses coming. I'll give you maybe 5 minutes or so to get your answers in there at Clyde SSB. Let us know.
Did you score for every club you played for?
Yeah.
Did you? Score for Thistle?
Yeah.
Did you? Score for City?
Yeah.
And a real game, not a reserve game?
Score for Rangers. Score for...
That's good, that.
Score for Ayr.
If you only played for a couple of teams.
I played for 5.
Yeah, I suppose.
That's decent.
One striker though.
Once again, no credit whatsoever.
I'm giving you credit.
No. Every time you give, you take. I've noticed that. I give with one hand, you take with the other.
I just think we need to set our bar higher. I think as a striker, if you played for 5 clubs and you scored for all them, I don't know if that's that impressive.
Did you ever go through a drought?
Yeah. Yeah, I had 30 minutes. One game, I thought, I'm never going to score here. I'll tell you what happened quickly. I went through a drought at Wraith. I went 6 games, I hadn't scored, and I changed my number from 10 to 8, and I never changed it again. I banged in 200 odds.
So superstitious, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because as an example, right, this guy, the answer to the teaser, who you got, to be fair, Gordon Dalziel, you know this answer. Let's see how many clubs he played for. 1, 2, 3, 4. He probably played for about 9 or 10.
That is more impressive, you've got to say.
Ooh, listen to this.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Dundee 4, St Mirren 0, and Robinson gets in on the act. Stephen Robinson will be tearing his hair out because he would not have seen this coming. An outstanding display from Tony Docherty's side. Yes, St Mirren have had a rough week, a sickness bug and all the rest of it, but a 4-0 scoreline against Dundee is making it all the worse. An early finish, McCowan's through ball, Robinson did the rest. Dundee 4, St Mirren 0.
Well, you get a fortnight to think about that and to feel bad about taking a hiding like that, but Tony Docherty and his players get a fortnight to think, we're doing alright here.
Wonder if they fed them the line. If you get a good result today, boys, I'll give you 4 or 5 days off. All of a sudden it's 4-0.
You're in tomorrow.
Oh, aye, I was only joking. Aye, and he's come. No, what a result that is.
I hated managers that used to do that.
Dangle it in front of you.
No, you were always off on the Sunday and then you get beaten, they come in, the usual silly stuff. Right, you're in tomorrow. No, we're out. We're out tonight.
Right, I think maybe to leave any room, let's just round off the teaser.
Yeah.
For now, let's do it. Let's round it off, Hugh Keevins.
The second half teaser
with the ScottishSun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Gus Poyet and Paolo Di Canio. I have been managed by David Moyes and Alan Pardew. I scored on my professional debut, and I have scored for every club I have ever played for. I am Jermaine Defoe.
Jermaine Defoe, well done if you got it right. We discovered last night, for anyone who regularly listens, that Jermaine is not spelt with an E on the end. That caused a bit of controversy on the full-time teaser last night, but never mind. Jermaine Defoe is the answer that you were looking for, so well done if you got it right, and you did.
Yeah, I eventually got it.
Fair play to you, you got there
I spelled it with an E
in the end. We don't hold that against you. It's not a spelling competition, but there we go. So congratulations if you did get the answer. Mark Wilson, were you not even close? No, did you?
No, because he
standing next to me.
He ruins it. I don't like when you get them so quick.
I'll tell you what, you showed your true colours today, because when the trap was set, I says to him, look at that there, Hearts. He never blinked.
Matthew Brown was in third place. Well done, Matthew. Kevin Craigan's in second place, and Chris, just like Madonna or Pele, no other name needed, Chris is the winner of the second half teaser, and you can take those bragging rights with you wherever you go this weekend. Chris, well done. Your Jermaine Defoe knowledge has set you apart.
6 for Clyde, 4 for equaliser after 89 minutes. So as you were at the bottom of League 2.
Yeah, absolutely. We must be approaching the proper latter stages. For instance, for Park, I think 88 gone there.
Tense around a few grounds just now.
Yeah, I mean,
Hibs Kilmarnock.
Yeah. Well, if you're a Hibs fan, you'd be thinking, when's equaliser coming?
Dundee hanging on.
Dundee players are thinking where they're going in a 4-day break just now.
Dundee are hanging on for a 5th.
Craig Levein will be
apparently very tense
as well.
At Easter Road. I feel like a Kilmarnock equaliser would go down like a you-know-what for Hugh Keevins for the majority of the home fans.
Very interesting to hear what happened there with the from David Field. The Hibs fans audibly showing their discontent with what's going on, and that's when they're winning. So it must have been poor.
Do you know, I was speaking to a couple of the Hibs directors on Wednesday. They love the manager, absolutely love him, love the way he's going about his business, very positive, looking forward to good things in the future.
They've only appointed him about 11 years ago, but I'm not going to say that they hate him.
So what I'm saying is the Hibs fans should be...
But a couple of weeks in, it would be quite something if Hibs directors were approaching strange random men with ties on and telling them that they didn't like the manager.
No, they recognised me through my efforts in years gone by in football, Gordon.
Thought this is the guy.
They're going to say that now, aren't they?
There's Mr. DL. There's Mr. DL over there.
This is out. This is like genuinely unbelievable. Not in the overused sense of unbelievable. Tony sent a message to say, listening on my way down south on the subject of the Wilson 1-0 in that ill-tempered game against Rangers. My cousin had a bet on Wilson 1-0.
Wow.
A retirement level of return.
That's insane. Why would somebody go to the bookies and think this is a good idea?
He thought it was Paul Wilson.
I mean, what am I duty bound to remind people here? Please gamble responsibly. That sounds like the most irresponsible.
Did he tell you the odds?
He hasn't actually. Come on, Tommy.
He's now living over Marbella or something.
You would think he would send some of those winnings in just to
I feel like he should
divvy it up a bit.
Contacted you for some.
That's like a lottery win, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
Right, 1-0. Who are we going to get to score? I'll tell you. We'll go for that boy at right back, the number 12.
That never scores and never gets up the pitch.
Were you right back that night or left back?
That's right back. Right back.
5 added at Fir Park, but we're into that now. 5 added in Perth, just getting into that. Great save from David Marshall to deny Rory McKenzie.
Oh dear.
Tell Gavs not to go on the slip road coming home.
I've heard Motherwell's chaos with the roadworks.
Tell him, do not. I ended up in Les Mahake. I ended up, honestly, I'm thinking I'm heading towards Carlisle.
So let me get this
and
straight.
I really want to go to Clydebank.
You were trying to get to Clydebank, you ended up in Les Mahake.
Yeah, and I had to do a doubler round.
It's not good.
It wasn't good. You've no idea the amount of petrol I've used up. So tell him, be careful that slip
I did
road.
see that. I saw a tweet from the Motherwell supporter liaison officer saying that it's chaos in and around. Is the local road at top of your hill shut as well? Is it
It's
not?
terrible.
What's going on?
It's absolutely terrible.
It's unbelievable. I know, it's chaos.
Everybody just wants to be there.
Alan Burrows dropped a fiver when he was at Motherwell and he's trying to find it now at Aberdeen.
They're trying to find out where that illegal streams commentary for games, maybe digging up roads and that Renercute, because I hear they're big in just
Did I just hear you the unmistakable noise of you punching a fellow pundit on the show?
I was so why would you punch me?
I was giving you a bit of encouragement.
Genuinely, right, Hugh, in all your years, have you ever had pundits come to blows, even if it is a joking matter? I don't think I've ever seen.
By the way, there was a bit of venom in that. Remember, you used to do that at school to people.
I've watched it all in here over the years. Watched Jimmy Sanderson, God rest his soul, set fire at the studio with a cigar. I watched Joe Miller fall off a chair mid-sentence, which almost brought the programme to a shuddering halt because no one could stop laughing. But I've never actually seen physical assault.
HR.
I was a bit of encouragement. I was just saying, we
don't live stream the show on a Saturday, but I do hope the cameras in here are on, because I can hopefully get
a lawsuit.
You can't be striking fellow pundits. Sure, that's in your contract.
Oh goodness! It's like the Palmerston Pep, Alloa 1, Queen of the South 0. Does this mean that I'm going to have an extra headache on which pundit to get in here on Wednesday night? That's really what I don't care what the results are. I just need to know, does it disrupt my roster in here?
No, there's still enough daylight between him and Annan at the bottom, or second bottom, should I say. So he's fine.
Gets worse for Clyde because Eldon have scored to go 2-0 up against Bonnie Rose, which puts Clyde bottom of League 2.
Here we go. 3 added at Dens, but my goodness, I bet Stephen Robinson would just settle for the full-time whistle. I don't think we're going to get a famous Motherwell comeback this weekend. They've got 50% of the way there, but they are fast running out of time. There was 5 added on. I think we're nearly there. We are nearly done there at Fir Park, so unless it's something ultra dramatic, it will be the much needed 3 points for Stephen Naismith, and the woes continue for Stuart Kettlewell by the looks of it.
Amazing how the moods shift though going into an international break, because Stephen Naismith coming under fire of feeling top of the world if his side sees a certain Stuart Kettlewell who's got 2 weeks just to sit and stew on it and think of every possibility. What could they have done better? What can we do to improve it? Whether things at Hearts will look a whole lot better tonight.
Full time at Dens Park, Dave Galloway.
Full-time Dundee 4, St Mirren 0. Dundee almost made a perfect start. Zach Rudden with a great run down the right. He cut inside, then crashed his drive off the post. That early pressure paid off after 16 minutes when they took a deserved lead. St Mirren couldn't clear properly from a corner kick, and Amadou Bakayoko pounced about 12 yards out to fairly thump the ball home. Saints were enjoying a good share of possession but creating very little of note. They spurned a decent opening when Kanu Bacchus, who was well positioned in front of goal, had a fresh air swipe at the ball as he tried to connect with a cross from the left hand side. The D's doubled their advantage in added time in the first half. O'Connor came in, the ball came off Marcus Fraser's hand. The referee pointed to the spot. Zach Rudden, he made no mistake sending Zach Hemming the wrong way. A deserved 2-0 interval lead, but the Buddies created their own problems as well, it has to be said. Stephen Robinson must have been furious. He made 4 substitutions at half-time, but after 57 minutes, Dundee hit St Mirren on the counter-attack. Zach Rudden's shot was parried by Zach Hemming, and Amadou Bakayoko was in the right place at the right time. He had a tap in for 3-0. Another Saints sub, Thierry Small, nearly cut the defeat when he connected with Lewis Jemison's cross, but the ball hit the bar. Then Jemison shot wildly off target after Small supplied him. In the 85th minute, it was 4-0 Dundee. Luke McCowan was set up by Amadou Bakayoko, and he drove forward and fed Zach Robinson, who coolly slotted in. Terrific performance by Dundee. St Mirren at times were all over the place, plenty effort, plenty possession, and they were affected by a bug which was apparently going through the squad this week. It remains to be seen how much of an effect that has had on them in the build-up to this one. A dreadful day at the office for them. Great day for Dundee though. Dundee 4, St Mirren 0.
What a result that is. St Mirren fans, pick up the phone. What did you make of that? Motherwell fans, you might not like this either. You can give us a call. It's finished there, Gabriel.
Yes, it has, Gordon. It's full-time. Motherwell 1, Hearts 2. Lawrence Shankland's double proved to be enough to hold off the Well, despite a late comeback inspired by Blair Spittle's penalty. The Hearts missed a big chance early on through Liam Boyce before taking the lead in the 27th minute. A deep corner from Alex Lowry was met by Frankie Kent, who nodded it forwards, and it was turned in by their skipper. A proper forwards finish on the turn inside the post. The Hearts saw they might have the chance to double their lead in the first half from the penalty spot when referee David Monroe went over to the monitor to check a challenge on Liam Boyce for a high boot, but the official stuck with his initial decision, which seemed like the right one. Motherwell changed shape and personnel at half-time, and it instantly looked more comfortable and better going forwards, but they still couldn't create any clear-cut chances. Then at the other end, Shankland miscued a good opportunity similar to his first one, but he made no mistake a few minutes later to make it 2. He was slipped through, he took his time, rounded Liam Kelly when he was one-on-one, has that composure just to pass the ball back across the goal and into the net, and the Jambos looked home and hosed. But Motherwell were given a lifeline when substitute Ollie Shaw saw his shot blocked by Alex Cochrane's arm. Blair Spittle, of course it was Spittle, not Slattery. Spittle expertly dispatched the ball into the top right-hand corner, but it was not enough. Motherwell couldn't create any more big chances, and the fans' faces were glum at full time. They're winless now in 9 games. They stay in 9th place, and pressure is really on Stuart Kettlewell. Hearts up to 4th. A huge win for Stephen Naismith. Full time here at Fir Park. Motherwell 1, Hearts 2.
It's finished at McDermott Park. Roger Hannah.
It's finished. St Johnstone 1, Ross County 0. A huge win for the Saints and Craig Levein, and an emotional and poignant winner for Graham Carey. Graham's wife Rachel Borthwick is undergoing treatment for cancer. The club held bucket collections all around McDermott Park this afternoon, with the donations being handed to Rachel's GoFundMe page. And then Carey stepped up with a superb winner in the last 20 minutes to lift St Johnstone out of the drop zone for the first time this season. He threatened early in the first half with a shot blocked. He then had one across the face of Ross Laidlaw's goal in 29 minutes after a good break by Dan Phillips. At the other end, County had 2 efforts from Scott Allardyce, one blocked by Ryan McGowan, one saved by Dimitar Mitov. In the second half though, St Johnstone begun to turn this through. Matt Smith fed through Nicky Clark for an acrobatic effort off the bar. That man Carey then had a shot held by Laidlaw at the other end. County drifting out the game. They had an effort from Jan Danda way off target at the other end before Saints lost the lively Clark to injury up top, with Stevie May coming on. And then the breakthrough, 71 minutes. Luke Robinson down the left hand side. He played it into May. He turned, he teed up Carey, and a superb left foot effort high past Laidlaw into the top corner of the net for the winner. Stevie made a shot saved by Laidlaw after a quick break as Saints tried to make it 2. County did have a bit of pressure near the end. They didn't go any closer though than Will Nightingale's header, easily held by Meathoff. A huge win for Levine, a huge win for St Johnstone, a huge winner for Carey. We wish him and his wife all the best. St Johnstone 1, Ross County 0.
Absolutely well said, Roger Hannah. It's also finished at Easter Road. David Friel.
Yeah, it has finished. Gordon full time. Hibs 1, Kilmarnock 0. I think this final whistle was greeted with a mixture of relief and celebration. Josh Campbell, he was a goal hero, and Hibs ended a 7-game winless run. 5 draws in there, but they wanted to get 3 points, and they did. They hadn't actually sampled victory since September, but edged this one against a battling competitive Kelly side. Derek McKenzie's men really won the road, but they gave this a right good goal. Kelly missed captain Kyle Vassell so badly, they just didn't have that quality in the final third to get the equaliser despite a lot of pressure. Hibs did have their talisman Martin Boylan. He made a huge difference on his return from injury. He had an early goal ruled out for offside. He should have scored as Stuart Finlay made a great saving tackle. It wasn't all one-way traffic in the first half. Liam Donnelly and Danny Armstrong did have chances for Kelly, but Hibs started to click from the half hour. Mark Boyle created Campbell's opener, 37 minutes. Found space, stormed forward, really clever pass to midfield, and he gave a good low finish. Hibs should have made it 2-0 before the break. Dylan Venti, he was subbed early in the second half. He was pretty poor, missed 2 good chances. The second half was a bit of a non-event in terms of clear-cut chances. Hibs did threaten from Josh Campbell and Jad Tavares, but Kelly kept pushing. They forced corners, they get crosses into the box. You could feel the tension inside the ground. Hibs have also thrown away leads recently. Kelly says he could get something. Sub-Rory McKenzie did have their best chance. Front post cross, he met it. A volley towards the goal, but David Marshall, the veteran Hibs keeper, was in the right place to make a crucial save. So Hibs happy. Kelly not deflated. They gave it a good go, but Hibs get the win. Full time, Hibs 1, Kelly 0.
And now it is over to you. What did you make of today's football? If we're talking Glasgow in the West, I'm sensing a bit of negativity out there. St Mirren fans, it's been a great season up until this point. How surprising was that result today then? How sore was it to take? Where did it go wrong? Pick up the phone and let us know. And Motherwell fans, how bad is this getting? This long winless run is just getting longer. Again, a late flurry to suggest that maybe you could get something, but in the end it is yet another defeat, and I wonder how worried you are. Give us all your thoughts on that situation please on 01419511025. I suspect a lot of you would like to look ahead to tomorrow, so let's do it. Celtic fans, who would you have replace Dyson Maeda? You have to pick your team. We need a solution on here. Who is going to take his place, given that he's out for the next few weeks? Pick up the phone and let us know. Rangers fans, all going well in Europe, maybe trying to juggle some things. Would you make any changes? Does the Philippe Clement unbeaten run continue to Livy? Let us know. 0141 951 1025. Call us right now and we'll try our best to get you on next.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
We have reached that point on a Saturday where you phone up Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel and let them know what you are thinking about either today's football, tomorrow's football, any of the week's biggest talking points. It is all there for you. If we're talking today's football, St Mirren fans, what on earth happened? There is not a chance you went up to Dens expecting to lose 4-0, so how do you feel about it? Motherwell fans, how worried are you about what lies in wait for the rest of this season? How critical are you of Stuart Kettlewell and the players, because it was yet another defeat, 2-1 at home to Hearts. Hibs held on to beat Kilmarnock 1-0 and a good win for St Johnstone against Ross County. And then there's tomorrow. Celtic fans, who would replace Dyson Maeda? He's out for 6 weeks. Is it Luis Palma? He will play, sorry. Is it going to be Yang? Is it James Forrest? Is it going to be someone else altogether? Let us know. Brendan Rodgers has been speaking about VAR this week as well, amongst other managers. Rangers fans, you seem delighted with what Philippe Clement is offering. He's about to embark on a potentially tricky run of fixtures, some away from home in the league. So how do you think tomorrow at Livingston will go? Would you tweak anything to the team? Young McCausland gets a lot of shouts to start a game. Could this be the one that he comes in from the beginning? Anything else we've missed, make sure you let us know. 0141 951 1025. Quite the day today, Hugh Keevins.
There are straightforward topics attached to every game. First of all, Motherwell's defeat at Hearts. Where now for Motherwell in general and Stuart Kettlewell in particular. Hibs 1-0 against Kilmarnock, but the Hibs fans restive and not entirely happy with Nick Montgomery's team's performance. Dundee against St Mirren, without doubt the score of the day. Tony Docherty's team win 4-0 against a St Mirren side who have now started to lose their way. But I would suggest there are two stories in one game. St Johnstone 1, Ross County 0. St Johnstone move off the top, or move off the bottom of the table and put Livingston there ahead of their match against Rangers tomorrow. And the goal scorer for St Johnstone is a man who has risen above the personal heartache and torment of his wife, dealing with cancer for the 4th time in her life. Graham Carey, man of the day.
Yeah, I have to echo that from Hugh, and we wish them well. Result of the day, up at Dundee, 4-0 against St Mirren. A terrific result for Tony Docherty. Good result for Nick Montgomery. Although the fans weren't happy with the style of play today, they've been happy with the style of play before and had very few victories, so they should be happy with the 3 points today. And for Stephen Naismith, going into this international break, it was a huge fixture for him. He had to win it. He did win it. He can breathe a sigh of relief. But for Stuart Kettlewell, it's the same old story again. Too simple to score against, and they find themselves in a whole load of trouble.
And then a big day to look forward to tomorrow, Gordon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Livingston, they come under the spotlight now, playing Rangers at home. They've dropped to the bottom of the league. Adds that little bit of pressure. And then I think we'll have a terrific game at Celtic Park. Aberdeen coming off that good result on Thursday night. Celtic coming off a really disappointing result on Tuesday night. But they're at home. They're top of the table. I think we're in for a very good day tomorrow.
Come on then, 01419511025. Stephen is a Motherwell fan. First through. Stephen, what is happening?
I think the selection was completely wrong today. Geordie Gent comes on against St Johnstone, completely turns the game for us. And we played Blair Spittle almost like as a kind of a wing back in a 3-4-3. It didn't work. Geordie Gent comes on, puts some great crosses into the box. He's an actual left footer. And for me, when you don't have an actual left back in the side and an actual left footer playing on the left side, I know it's Spittle the other day, but in previous weeks it's been Brodie Spencer, then you just lose a bit of balance in the team. And I thought we took ages to get going. We were nowhere near high enough up on Hearts. We didn't create anything second half, and it's worrying. It's worrying, but I'm at the point when I say sack Kettlewell. I don't think so just yet, but if we keep losing, I don't know what we can do. My only issue, and my only reason that I wouldn't sack Kettlewell is I don't know who to bring in.
Not there just yet, says Stephen, which I think is understandable, Hugh. But you have to say it. What a grim run this is.
It is a grim run. By my reckoning, it's 2 points out of the last 24. You can correct me if I've got that wrong, but the next game is Celtic at Celtic Park, fortnight's time. Not exactly fertile ground for a Motherwell win.
No.
So the club have to use this 2 week period to take a breath, think about where they're going, think about the position of their manager. No one in this programme is here to try and have people lose their jobs, but simply to point out that Stuart Kettlewell became Motherwell manager because his predecessor couldn't get out of a losing rut. That's how people get jobs, and that's how people lose jobs.
2 points from 27, is that what you said?
27.
24, I said it.
Yeah, it's 27.
2 from 27. Well,
yeah, and you've got Celtic coming after international break. That could easily, and let's be honest, I think everybody will agree that probably will be 2 out of 30. You can't continue. I'm not for sacking managers, Hugh says, but that's the nature of the game. Everybody knows that.
But at the same time, I mean, to pluck a completely random example, you said earlier, Man United can't sack Ten Hag. You can't keep sacking managers. So you would surely apply the same logic here.
Well, I think Manchester United
quite a lot of goodwill in the bank as well.
Yeah, a wee bit different for me with Manchester United because of the amount of, the turmoil at the club. You've got Sir Alex Ferguson coming out and backing the manager. But forget Manchester United just now.
I'm just talking about your theory, though. You can't just keep sacking managers because this would be the same.
I'm not for. I've said for day one, I think we pull the trigger on managers very quickly. you're looking at supporters. I live in Motherwell, Gordon. I speak to a lot of Motherwell supporters. Yes, a bit like Stephen, he's now in the camp of, I think last week he's gone, absolutely never sack him just now. We have to go with him. Then all of a sudden there's, well, I don't know if I'd sack him because I don't know who would get in. There's a lot of Motherwell fans now looking at this run and they're not happy with it. The biggest problem I see, and I used to look like everybody else and think, how are we going to replace Van Veen? How are we going to replace the goals? We've lost the most goals in the league. So it tells you it's problems at both ends just now, and it ain't getting any better.
That is the issue, isn't it, Stephen? The problems not necessarily at both ends, everywhere really on the pitch at the moment.
Yeah, particularly defensively. I mean, some of the goals we're losing. We lose another one from a set piece today, and even the second goal's really easy. We're just not reacting quick enough. Not picking up our men. It's really, really frustrating to watch as a supporter, because I do believe, although he was poor today, I do believe that there'll be somebody in the squad and make a better effort can get his goals. But we seem to be playing these high balls and balls into channel. That's no alright. He's alright with a ball into channel, but he likes the ball on his feet so he can link up with somebody. So you need to play his strengths. I just feel like we weren't really doing that, and I don't know how you get yourself up the pitch when you don't really have any pace on the wing and any ball carriers. It's mystifying to me.
Mark, it must be, and this kind of, would just appeal to any manager that's ever been in a difficult run, when you've got something that works and it keeps working and then it stops working, and then you need to think, okay, how long can I keep my cool? How long can I stick with this and think, well, it's worked before, so it'll come back. I think Stuart Kettlewell spoke a couple of weeks ago about being too loyal to some players, so he's reached that point, not going to stick with that anymore, going to change something, go to Kilmarnock. He then says, we were much more direct than we usually would. We felt that was the right way to go and get something. They didn't get something. Stephen's main point today is it's not even a recognised kind of player on the left side. The balance is all off. So when you're sort of looking for one solution, then a different solution, then a different solution, and none of them are sticking, that must be really tough.
I think you dig yourself a hole. I think some managers would be best served to stick to what they believe in and stick to what work. And I mean shape and formation and style of play, and perhaps change the odd individual in there, because if you've got something that's proved to have worked, then I think you're better doing that than just chopping and changing every week, because you find yourself chasing your tail.
Don't get me wrong, maybe today's a bit different. Lennon Miller's out for 3 months and Paul McGinn's out as well, so I get that you can't always do it exactly the same, but generally speaking,
I like the fact that he's recognised it's not working. I know what Mark's saying, and probably right, but he's decided, look, we need to go up the pitch, we need to be a threat, we need to score goals. He's went with his 3 centre forwards, not working. Then he's starting to put square pegs in round holes. That's a disaster. Recipe for disaster the minute you start that. So he's not found the solution, because he needs this one result that they can come in on Monday, the confidence is back, the atmosphere's better. But the problem is they're going to wait an international break, and their next game back, they go to Celtic Park.
And I wonder, Stephen, are you fearful that that's not going to happen? Because I get that they weren't wins, but the draw against Ross County and the draw against St Johnstone probably would have felt like wins, but yet they've not led to that sort of bounce the next game.
Yeah, it's getting concerning, but I know we can't really afford to, but I think we need to write the Celtic game off. We can't be looking at that and getting into that and saying, alright, we're going to get 3 points. We're probably going to lose that one, so it's about the next game after that, making sure that I'd start Georgie Gent. It's the first thing I would do. Winning Miller is a huge mistake, but we are much better with Blair Spittle in the middle of the park, and we look better with a natural left-sider. Listen, I don't have my coaching badges, I don't have all the answers, but we need to find them from somewhere.
Good man, Stephen, all the best. And by the way, I can see a lot of Motherwell fans phoning in. It's obviously getting to that point. There was a Hearts fan who would have been much happier though today, and a Hearts fan from Motherwell, Wayne. I mean, what a day for you.
Oh, how you doing, guys? Absolutely. It's been a tough place to go to last few seasons. I think we've had a wee cheeky result here and there, but it's one of those parks where Hearts turn up and we sometimes don't perform. But I thought today we played really, really well, especially from back to front. The Kent in the centre with Rolls, really produced some good performances, and especially Beningame there in the midfield. It's good to see him back dictating the centre mid. So yeah, I would say a lot of positives, and Naismith got the tactical play well today, because the second half Motherwell did really kind of push on, especially with their Spencer. I think it's Spencer who plays on the left, and Forrest was having a nightmare, so he done a good substitution bringing on the Civic to kind of nullify that. So it was a good tactical play from Naismith, actually seeing the game for a change, for a manager changing it up right away instead of maybe going to the hour mark or the 65 minutes, and we could have maybe potentially had a goal conceded at that point. So yeah, it was a lot of positives to see today.
It buys Stevie Naismith time. It doesn't mean that the corner has been turned and everything is rosy in the garden again. It just placates everyone, Wayne included. And now he's got to move on from there in a fortnight's time. I don't know who Motherwell will play after the international
Hearts,
break.
you talking about?
But Hearts.
St Johnstone at home.
Well, Craig Levine. That will add spice to the occasion. But as I say, it placates everyone. It doesn't mean that all is well. It just means that you move on to the next game to see if you can actually say we are improving on a gradual basis.
Wayne, how do you feel about Stephen Naismith? There was this perception that might not be accurate, a perception that he sort of needed a result today. Again, you can put however much emphasis on that word as you want, but how do you feel about him?
It's a tough one. I actually think there's a lot of spotlights on the managers in general in the Scottish Premiership just now, because it's so congested. If you actually look at how tight it is, with St Johnstone winning today, it's just brought it back up another level, making it all tight. So I think that now everybody's under the microscope. If somebody like even loses 2 games one week, is the Aberdeen boss? Is it going to be the Ross County boss? So I think it comes part and parcel with the job. But regards to Naismith, he needs to pick up results, because we've got a good strength and depth in squad where we should be picking up results against teams, especially at Tynecastle, and maybe getting the odd result away from home. We should really kind of be pushing for top 4 positions anyway. So I think Naismith knows that himself, what the Hearts lot demand. But yeah, I totally agree with you saying that it's not put, like, I don't think there's a corner turned. I just hope there's a stepping stone now where we can push on now with St Johnstone at home. Craig's got up there, maybe done a wee bit of stability now that's got the wee results for St Johnstone now, so it's going to be a tough game. So we'll just see what happens. It's just a good result today.
It's verging on pointless worrying too much about that middle section of the league, because Hearts are now just 2 points behind St Mirren, and let's be honest, 4th place for Hearts is fine. You'd rather be 3rd, but 4th is you're in that acceptable bracket. They are closing in on St Mirren clearly, but they're also 2 points away from the bottom 6. It's just it's too early to get hung up in the league table. Well, not necessarily, it's too early because of how bunched up it is.
But let's take Hearts against St Johnstone in isolation. The return of Craig Levine, sacked by Hearts 4 years ago, he will get a mixed reception from the Hearts fans, but he's got 4 points out of 6 from his first 2 games. He's doing what the club hired him to do, get them out of the danger zone. So it will have its own special flavour, that game, in 2 weeks' time. And Hearts simply have to make sure they don't become a victim of Craig Levine. And the supporters will be looking at the game and judging Stephen Naismith.
Let's bring in Martin, who's on the line. Thank you to Wayne. Martin, how are you?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Not bad. What are you thinking?
Need to get well at the door. Nobody can sit there and say he doesn't need sacked. He's got to Gordon Dalziel. Surely you're a Motherwell man. You happy watching that?
No, I've got to be honest with you, Martin. No, I'm not. The goals that they're conceding is poor.
Corner kicks. If you can't defend a corner kick as a professional player, my 10-year-old laddies defenders can defend better than that in his team.
So are they letting Stuart Kettlewell down then, or is he definitely the man that needs to pay the price?
Definitely letting him down. It's no. Listen, I came on here shouting for Stevie Hamill to get sacked, and I love that guy, right? But it's my club. I'm watching them falling down and down and down. They're conceding stupid, pathetic goals. He must have played in the last 3 games about 6 different strikers. He doesn't know who his strikers are, who his best strikers are. You've got the guy Wilkinson up there, he keeps playing. He's non-existent. He doesn't do nothing. He's constantly putting Spencer at left back, He's a right-footed player and a good right-footed player, good attacking right back. And he plays him at left back, which totally stumps him. He can't get up the wing. And when he does, it's on his left back. He's turning back. It's too predictable. And then he's playing like O'Donnell. O'Donnell's a solid right back. But if you put Spencer at right back, put that young guy Gent at left back, every Motherwell fan can see what that guy brings to the team. Natural left-footed player. And Stuart Kettlewell's no doing it. He puts Spattle, a centre, one of the most creative players for us. He was great along with Van Veen, and he'd be really good up there with Beereth, and he's playing him at left wing back. The guy hasn't got a clue. And I said this for the record, by the way, when we were winning games. He was okay in the short term, but medium or long term, he's hopeless.
Gordon Dalziel put it perfectly earlier on. When you start to put square pegs in round holes, there's a problem. And the problem is accentuated when you've got 2 points from 27. So Celtic up next, it's not good. The fans can see very clearly the team does not have balance and does not have players in their natural positions, and they are wondering why this is the case. And on top of everything else, the best young player at the club and one of the best young players in Scotland is lost to you for 3 months. Therefore, on top of everything else, you have no luck. And that's why these 2 weeks coming up, the international break, have to be spent in serious contemplation of where this club is going.
You know, Martin says, I knew he'd be good in the short term, but not in the medium to long term. But I suppose the counter argument that Stephen brought up was, we've not hit long term yet.
No,
you know what I mean? We've a kind of similar length, and probably not even that yet in terms of good versus bad.
I think that's where
it was constantly good, and then it got constantly bad.
Yeah.
Whereas if there was some sort of mix of both, leading with the kind of same overall record, you wouldn't be talking about sacking him. And then I don't mean that makes it wrong, because obviously once you rack up 8 and 9 and 10, it's an inevitable conversation.
But I think clubs like Motherwell, and you could look at Dundee and St Johnstone, need to be careful about getting sucked into this constant sack the manager. They're going to go through bad periods, and I know this is an exceptionally bad period for Stuart Kettlewell, but what is his remit at the start of the season? Where do Motherwell fans think they're going to be at the end of the season? Is it top 6 in a league that's got Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, Hibs, Kilmarnock under Derek McInnes, or is it to top the bottom 6? Either or. The position they're in at the minute, they're still in touching distance. So I would get it if Motherwell were cut adrift at the bottom. You would go, okay, but bear in mind,
because we're definitely going down. That was when you're
13 games into the season. You've got 3 wins, which puts you in the same amount of wins as Aberdeen, for instance. Who else? More than Livy.
If you're looking at your own club, Mark, sorry, we've all been in management. You're looking at your own club, and you can make that. You can go into the boardroom and sit down and say, well, have a look at everybody else. But if you're picking up 2 points in 27, you're shipped to most goals in the Premier League. I'm sorry, I don't want manager. He's come under pressure, and Motherwell fans.
But no one's saying he's not. But you're saying don't look at other clubs, but mention that he's conceded the most in the league. So you are comparing it to other clubs on some statistics, but not on others.
Right, but what I'm trying to say is selective in his own club.
It's a league table. You by definition, you have to compare yourself to other clubs.
Right.
If you're ranked rotten, but you're not as rotten as the rest, you win the league.
Livy are bottom of the league table tonight. Livy on 10 points. Motherwell have 12. Therefore, they're 2 points away from the bottom club. And I'm watching a documentary just now called Too Good to Go Down.
I know, but this is what I said about the league. You're 4 points away from the top 6.
Wait a minute.
So you can't just pick one of them.
Why are we not speaking about Malky Mackay getting the sack at Ross County? Why are we not speaking about David Martindale getting the sack at Livingston?
For the simple reason that Motherwell fans are calling in, and we're addressing Motherwell's situation here. And the reason why I brought up the documentary Too Good to Go Down, which is the story of Manchester United being relegated, never assume that it's too early in the season for bother. Never assume that it will automatically get better. They are 2 points off the bottom of the league, and that is...
I think the big problem with Motherwell, you're talking about other managers there. Malcolm Mackay, experienced manager, can go and pick up points. And I'm not saying that Stuart Kettlewell, but everything now, he's trying different things, and I'm all for that. But everything he's trying is not working. And now he's starting to get to that desperation part where he's putting players well out of position. Instead of just saying, do you know what, we've been unlucky in games, we've played well, we've conceded cheap goals, but this is going to turn. I don't see just now where it's going to turn, because they go to Celtic Park.
Thank you to Martin. Take more of your calls next.
Talking begins. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are here at 0141951 1025, or you can tweet at Clyde SSB. A nice debate about Motherwell's current predicament before the break. You can keep your thoughts coming if you so wish. We do have big games tomorrow. Jack is a Rangers fan on the line. How impressed have you been with the new manager, Jack?
Hello everybody, how's the team doing?
All good here, all good. You?
I'd just like to speak about how well Rangers are playing since Big Phil's came in. He's absolutely turned the full team, and it seems like the atmosphere and the fans and the players are just all seeming to play better in the system. How do you all think about that?
Well, it's very easily explained, Jack, isn't it? You don't lose games. His predecessor, Michael Beale, had lost 3 league games, which explains the deficit which exists between Rangers and Celtic. But Clement has come in, and whether it's European football or domestic football, he has transformed the entire club. And I can only see him going on to beat Livy tomorrow. He'll beat Aris Limassol at Ibrox, and Rangers will be in Europe after Christmas. At the moment, you put the man in front of the public and no one can have a critical word to say about him because there's nothing to criticise.
I suppose the challenge, Gordon, is just to obviously keep doing it. I mean, if it's funny we're having that conversation actually about Stuart Kettlewell there, and to link it loosely, Michael Beale did this. Michael Beale came in, and going back and look at Michael Beale's initial record, everyone was, I'm not sure if we had, I can't remember, I wouldn't pretend to know. I don't know if we were talking about transformed, I don't know if we were talking about atmosphere and stuff, and that stuff you can't quite put your finger on. But you know, they didn't struggle initially under him either. It does feel like there's something else, as Jack says. You know, like we mentioned there, but players are speaking about the mood and about the fitness. I don't know, did that happen the last time?
It's a bit of a trend in football. When a new manager comes in, he seems to get a tune out of players. You look at Craig Levein and now at St Johnstone as well. Clement's come in. It's Michael Beale's squad. He's certainly revamped it in the sense of confidence, the way they're playing, the fans are loving it, everybody's getting inside. I'm just looking forward to January in the summer when this guy brings in his own players, what type of players he's going to bring in, what systems that he's going to play, because just now he's ticking every box from the Rangers supporters. He's getting a tune out of players as well. He's in a cup final and probably go to Livingston tomorrow. He'll make changes, and it'll be interesting to see his starting line up. But every player looks like they're playing for their jersey now.
This is a man of pedigree, a man of serial title wins in Belgium. This is not Michael Beale, who had 24 games at QPR and then got the Rangers job. Rangers made a serious error of judgment and they paid for it, and Clement is in there to clean up his mess.
I think what we're talking about at this point in Michael Beale's reign, it didn't look like an error of judgment.
Well, it turned out to be an error of judgment. I mean, he is the highest profile sacking of the season. 1/4 of the clubs in the Premiership have got rid of their managers, Rangers included. But this guy, Clement, is simply a man of substance. And, you know, you can see the impact that he's having. It is as clear as day.
I was going to say what's impressive about him is that he's come in quite a challenging fixture card that lay ahead of him when he looked at Hibs and Hearts in there, an away game in Europe, a semi-final, so lots of variety, and then away at Dundee as well, and he's managed to tick them off. I mean, the away performance against Sparta Prague, look, they rode their luck for a large portion of that game, but they finished with real energy and actually could have snatched it. So I'm not quite sure that would have happened under Michael Beale. So he's certainly got a tune out of them that way. And then the return game at Ibrox the other night, you know, a win in Europe always puts you in a good frame of mind. So look, he's ticking along quite nicely. Rangers fans reacting well to him.
Would you make changes tomorrow, Jack? Anyone else that deserves a bit of a chance?
No, I wouldn't make any changes at all tomorrow. I think the team are playing absolutely brilliant under Clement. And one of the best things about him is every substitution he makes, you see the players go off and he comes up and he speaks to them. Michael Beale was always sitting down on the touchline and he didn't even act like he cared about the football club. He was never a manager, he was just a coach, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Gordon, we do have an international break after this, so maybe it does take that need away. But Thursday night, it was a big effort in Europe. Go to Livy Sunday lunchtime. It's a squad game. We always talk about this with the big teams. And here, what was it last week? Was it Celtic at Ross County? Umpteen changes, and everyone gets all frantic about it before kick-off. But he'll shuffle one or two.
Yeah,
really not.
I think he'll make changes, no doubt. I think he'll throw down the gauntlet to one or two. But interesting, I was very impressed with McCausland the other night. I thought he was excellent. He just gave them a lift. Young lad, full of energy, full of confidence, played with no fear. Some of the passes he played were excellent. So I'd be excited to see him starting tomorrow. But I definitely think he will freshen up. There's no doubt in that.
Yeah, I think you've got to, when you're coming off the back of a game like Thursday evening. So look, the pitch makes it a more difficult game than it would normally be, but Rangers don't tend to struggle that much when they go there. I think they've got players playing with confidence, a lot higher in confidence than what they were probably 5 weeks ago, and I think they'll go over the line tomorrow with few difficulties.
I think it's slightly embarrassing for our game when people like Clement come into Scottish football and they realise that there's a synthetic surface at Livy, another one at Kilmarnock, and this does not strike them as being proper professional football. And we go on about these pitches, but they are not right for top class football. But anyway, he says it won't be an excuse for his players if they don't win tomorrow. However, Livy are 4 defeats on the bounce now, and the day always was going to come when Livy stopped being the great survivors and were under pressure, and I think they're under pressure now.
Yeah, I've sort of conditioned to just never think that Livy are going to go down. What's the point? They just throw it back in your face every season. He was right. I mean, inevitably at some point. But early season, Gordon, it didn't look like it would be the case. They are obviously in that difficult run at the moment.
Yeah, they've definitely taken a slump. But the good thing about it is when they look above them, all the teams aren't galloping away from them. They're still within touching distance. 2 wins. I don't think they'll win tomorrow, by the way. 2 wins, and all of a sudden you just get yourself up there and leapfrog a few teams. So it's not panic stations yet, but I think bringing in Brian Rice, an experienced manager, coach, to maybe a different voice with David in the dressing room and in the dugout will probably help them as well. So I don't see them getting anything tomorrow, but they need to start turning it around, like 1 or 2 clubs, and start winning games.
Yeah, let's hear from Philippe Clement ahead of that one.
You can compare it with other sports like for example tennis. You have some guys who win Wimbledon and don't win one other tournament because it's a really specific kind of surface. And for me, with artificial, it's the same. The ball bounce is different. The way you pass different. The speed of the ball is different. The way you kick a ball is also different. You cannot go on the net like on a normal pitch. So you need to adapt. But I want a team who never use these things as an excuse.
It's not that he's wrong, Mark. It's just that we have kicked the backside out of this debate over and over and over again, and it becomes mildly interesting when we get a new person's opinion on it.
I was about to say that. Yeah, someone new in.
And on we go. I guess in theory it does make it harder, but Rangers don't have a bad record at Livy. It's not somewhere that they struggle to get wins.
Well, if you've got a squad of good players, then more often than not they will find a way, regardless of the surface. And I think Rangers, when they've went there to Tony Macaroni in previous seasons, perhaps start of the game has been a bit of a battle, but they've always found a way. I think it'll be the same tomorrow. You look through the squad, never mind the manager. all the players have experienced an artificial surface here in Scotland. They had the test at the opening day of the season where it didn't go their way, but they know what to expect. So you'd expect them to win the game tomorrow. Like, will they be leggy? Perhaps some of the ones that are there over the course and distance all the time, Taverniers and Barisic will probably play, but the rest should be fine to get the job done, particularly where Livy is in the league. It's not like Livy top six and they're a real threat. I think Livy have been poor this season. Philip Clemonton studied them rather than the pitch, so he'll know what he's up against, and I think they'll have enough.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, Gordon, there are moments within games. Clearly maybe I was being a bit harsh on Livy. I just meant the last point Livy picked up against Rangers came at Ibrox. But within that, I suppose you go back to was it the first day of last season? Livy were leading 1-0, weren't they? The Joel Newbley, remember? And then it was a kind of quick fire double round about the 70 odd minute that won it for Rangers. I think it was 3-1 the season before. They've actually not been there that much, if that makes sense. The way the fixtures have fallen, they only went to Livy, tell a lie, it was twice last season, once the season before. So yeah, I'm not saying they get it easy, but it just doesn't. There's not a whole list of bad results there.
No, I don't think they'll get it easy tomorrow. I think they'll win because I think under a new manager, Rangers players have got a lift. There's a bit of confidence. They play a different sort of a style of football now, so I think they will go and get the result. But I don't think it will be easy. I think it'll be a case of going to Livingston, getting in there, getting the job done, and getting out. I think that's how you treat going away to Livingston, where obviously the pitch plays a massive part in it. But the manager, I like the way he's come out there and said, look, it's different pitch, obviously, different way of you pass the ball, you kick the ball, the weight of the ball, pass and everything. So he's already planning for that. He'll get his players in the right frame of mind, and they should have enough to get the job done.
Well, we'll find out. We've got some interesting comments from various managers up and down the country. We'll thank Jack, and you can start to hear some of them next.
After they play, you have your say. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
We're into the final part of tonight's Clyde One Super Scoreboard. It's 0141 951 1025. And it's Twitter at Clyde SSB. Looking back on today's football, previewing tomorrow's if you so wish. I was hoping to have heard from the likes of Stuart Kettlewell by now, but he is taking his time. Don't think he's even been in to speak to the media yet.
Never a good sign.
Could be giving his players both barrels. We will see. On that topic though, Irene is a Motherwell fan. How's it going, Irene?
Not bad, thank you. How are you?
Not bad. You've not had a great day either on the football front, so what do you make of the current situation?
At the moment, Motherwell and I are currently on a hiatus. We're not seeing other people yet, but it's getting close. I've been listening to other callers throughout the past couple of weeks over the whole Kettlewell sacking scenario, and I genuinely don't think that's the answer. I think personally Liam Kelly is, yes, to a certain extent, defence, massive mistakes, but your last point of defence is your goalkeeper, and he's just not doing it. It's as if there's no want there anymore. There's no passion. There's nothing. I don't think passion's the right word, but there's nothing there. He doesn't attempt to make any saves. The game midweek, he was wearing a white strip. He left that park with a white strip. What goalkeeper does that? I just think now he's expecting. He doesn't have to work for the captaincy anymore. It's just expected. It's there, and it's as if there's a fear in dropping him.
Is this a more general point rather than today, Irene? Do you hold him particularly responsible today, or do you mean overall?
Probably both, to be honest with you. I think today he should have been dropped. I don't think he should be in the team at the moment. Today, for what I saw of it, he's just not there. He's just not there. And if Steve Clark calls him up to put him in the sticks against either Georgia or Norway, then he needs his head read. I genuinely don't think sacking Kettlewell's answer. I think we do need to drop Kelly.
I don't think the dropping of the goalkeeper solves your problems. I think first and foremost, Liam Kelly has been an excellent player for Motherwell and played his way into the international squad. He's clearly a good goalkeeper, but he is suffering from what every player goalkeepers and outfield players suffer from a loss of form, and it's coincided with the team's long, miserable run of negative results. But who is your backup goalkeeper? And
Mr. Boxborough.
Well, is he good enough?
That we don't really know.
There's only one way to find out.
Is that would he make? Is that fair, Irene? You know, I take it you're at the point of taking the leap there, but it would be a bit of an unknown, wouldn't it?
No, Keltwell did say in one of his interviews, what have we got to lose? Well, what have we got to lose? We're sitting, a point above St Johnstone. So St Johnstone have got a game in hand. They win that, they go above us. And what have we got to lose? Realistically, what have we got to lose? I stay in Kilmarnock, I work in Kilmarnock, I work with Kilmarnock fans, and I refuse to live in a world where Kilmarnock are above us.
That's a fair way of putting it. You're gonna have to live there for now. It's not. This is the thing. It's not that Irene's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's. But we said earlier, if you're going, well, maybe that'll help. Maybe playing Blair Spittle there will help. Maybe I'll go to a front three. Maybe he can come out. Maybe he can go in there. Put Bevis McGabby on up front for the last 5 minutes today. I don't think being the captain or being a Scotland international or being someone who's performed ever so well previously, that should never guarantee you. But it does make the stakes a bit higher when you decide to take him out the team, doesn't it? And like, if that, put it this way, put Aston Oxford in, he doesn't really do anything wrong, but Motherwell continue to lose games. What have you really gained? So I get Irene saying, what have you got to lose? What you got to gain?
I think when Motherwell or any other club are in this position where it's the downward spiral, everybody gets it. And if you do that, drop Kelly and the other goalkeeper comes in and it doesn't work, then what have you achieved? And I take Mark's point, but you'll never know unless you try him. But I just think that Kelly is going through a bad run of form, which affects every player at every club at some point. But I don't think you destroy his confidence by saying, right, you need to come out. I'd rather, where I am a Motherwell fan, I would rather go to Celtic Park in 2 weeks' time with Liam Kelly and go.
Yeah, I've got to go with Hugh on that. I totally take on board what Irene's saying. Irene sees a lot more live games than I do. But when you're in this position, I think you could probably go through the full team and there's a lot of them suffering because obviously the results show that. So I would probably go with my most experienced guys. I would sit, if I was Stuart, and look back at, well, when we were doing well, what was my system? Where were we playing? What was the sort of a football we were trying to play? And I would try to go back to the basics.
That did stop working as well, though, didn't it?
But he's now thrown everything at it. He's 3 forwards, 3-4-3s, playing guys out of position. You just need to hope. In this league, it can turn very, very quickly for you. Look at St Johnstone, right? I think everybody probably had them gone. They get, 7 points out of 9. They're now leapfrogged, Livingston. They're now looking at Motherwell to leapfrog them with their game in hand. So it's one of those leagues, you've got to stick by what you believe will work for you. And I don't think leaving Liam Kelly out the team is the answer to that.
Liam Kelly aside, Irene, you've still got at least a level of faith in Stuart Kettlewell then, by the sounds of it?
I do, yeah, because when he came in, we were where we are, and he took us and we finished 7th. Technically, points-wise, we finished above Livingston, St Mirren, who were in 6th. So, yeah, I do have faith in Kettlewell. However, and what your panel's saying, every caller that's phoned in about Motherwell, they've all slagged everybody. Spittle's got it, Slattery's got it, everybody's got it. Why not Kelly? Why is he invincible? And that's the kind of impression that I personally get, that he's invincible. He can do no wrong. He's let silly goals in. Silly goals. At the end of the day, what have we got to lose? Put him on the bench. Let him warm the bench for a couple of days. Let him fight for his place, because that's what I think he's missing. He's not fighting for his place because he just walks right into it. It might work, it might not, but what if it does?
Well, there's some sort of irony here that he might have to go and keep out international class players, and some good ones at that. Imagine he goes away and comes back with 2 Scotland clean sheets.
Always a dangerous business to argue with a lady. However, these are assumptions that Irene's making, that Liam Kelly has lost his hunger, that Liam Kelly thinks he's an automatic pick. Liam Kelly is not having the best of time, but I could not say that's because he's lost his hunger and you're a big time Charlie, and he thinks he'll get picked anyway. I could not make that comment.
Imagine he keeps a clean sheet against Erling Haaland next Sunday and then comes back and is dropped for Motherwell's next game
against Celtic.
Interesting choice, incidentally, that Steve Clarke's got to make in that department over the next couple of games. Xander Clarke and Liam Kelly have both done brilliantly well. They've done enough to play themselves into the squad. They're both probably not in sparkling.
We've qualified
right
though.
now.
I'd give one a game and the other one the last game.
So you draw lots to see who avoids Haaland.
Haaland, I mean, he kind of off days as well as everybody else, but I'd give them a game each.
Thank you very much to Irene. Some good points, some passionate points well made on 01419511025, and that is the number you need. I think you're possibly getting close to running out of time to get your calls in today, but by all means, tomorrow guys are here for a long day, Monday, and you know the way it works all week.
Stuart Kettlewell still not been in yet?
No, he has just waiting patiently to try and bring it to you. What about Celtic tomorrow, Mark?
Well, of course it'll be tough because you're coming off the back of losing 6 midweek. A lot goes into that. Played a lot of the game with 10 men, and obviously the manner of defeat takes energy away, but look, Celtic have got a big enough squad, and of course Aberdeen are coming off the game on Thursday evening as well, so Barry Robson might make changes. You'll have to look at the league table. I know Aberdeen have got 3 games in hand in Motherwell, but they're sitting in and around them, so not been a great season domestically for them. Look, Celtic should get the job done. They need to get over the hangover quickly.
Don't get me wrong, Aberdeen have played like 3 fewer than Kelly and Hibs and Motherwell at the moment. However, Gordon Dalziel, 3 wins all season, a 0 goal difference, some really, really bad results for Aberdeen, and yet maybe, just maybe, there's something about them that's more suited to this game tomorrow, right? Bear with me, because I know it sounds crazy and it might well turn out to be if Celtic batter them, but they've gone to Ibrox and won. Granted, Rangers were a shambles at the time, and performed really well away in Greece in a tough game against PAOK. Although the results weren't there, performed really well against Eintracht Frankfurt in Germany. So maybe it's the type of a tactically or whatever it is where they can sit off the game and catch on the counter. Maybe these are the ones that suit Aberdeen.
They're a mixed bag. I don't think you know, if you're an Aberdeen fan, what's going to turn up, what you're going to get. I think some of the performances you highlighted there have been very good. They went down to 10 men in the semi-final against Hibs as well, showed good character, got themselves into the final, good confidence. I know that Celtic have come off a real disappointing result. They're at home. I see them responding tomorrow and getting a result.
Do you want to hear from Stuart Kettlewell before we go? Let's squeeze it in.
I'm going to sound like a broken record again. Same sort of feel as several that we've had to this point. We concede a goal for another corner. We spoke about us conceding 2 on Tuesday, which is pretty evident. We go, we do our due diligence again, we do our work, we speak about the matchups and the markers inside the box. Players are well aware of that going into the game, we understand it. We look at their deliveries, we look at guys like Kent being a threat inside the box who wins the initial header on the first goal, and we don't do our job. It's as simple as that. You get sort of big moments in games where you have to stick to your task defensively, and sometimes you look at the other end of the park, you need to come up with the goods when you're presented those opportunities. I can't keep saying the same things. I do see the reaction every time we've found ourselves behind. I don't think at any point we've not shown one, but I would much rather be in a position where we've managed to take the lead from, say, Theo Bair's free header at the back post in the first minute or 2 of the game, because I think that changes a mood and that changes a feel for everybody in the ground, and it gives the players something to hold on to, and it gives them something to grasp onto, which we've been good through time, but we currently find ourselves sort of shooting ourselves in the foot, and the outcome today is evident.
We are out of time, Hugh Keevins. We'll have to leave it there, but sum up today's football and what we've got to look forward to tomorrow.
We speak of men under pressure like Stuart Kettlewell because of a long, depressing run for Motherwell. We speak about men who have suffered a severe disappointment like the St Mirren manager Stephen Robinson, who loses by a 4-goal margin at Dundee. I speak of a man of character, resilience and bravery. I speak of Graham Carey, who scored the goal for St Johnstone that lifts them off the top of the table while dealing with the most heartbreaking of domestic situations regarding his wife's health. He's the man of the day. I don't care about all the other results. Well done, Graham Carey.
Well done indeed, and it's a big day tomorrow. This weekend is not over yet, not by a long shot. It all starts at 11:45 for the guys, a 6 hour and a bit special here on Clyde One Super Scoreboard tomorrow. Andrew McLean will look after you, but Hugh, Mark and Gordon will be here at Livy against Rangers first up, then Celtic against Aberdeen in the afternoon. Looking forward to it all. We'll look back on it on Monday as well, but tomorrow, look forward to it. George is up next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with lookers.co.uk. Buy or sell your vehicle the simple way. Visit them online today.